Pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up, everyone. Hello, Beverly. What's up? Good evening, everyone. How you doing? Hello, 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 everyone. Spasiba. Hello, Harmony. What's up? Pull up, 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 everyone. What's up? I mean, it's been a long time. I miss you guys a lot. How are you doing? How's everyone doing? How's your evening? How are you doing, Beverly? Harmony, how are you doing? Good evening, Harmony. What's up? How are you doing? How's your evening? Hello, Don't Flow. Hello, Tina. What's up? What's up? What's up? Good evening, everyone. Night's not for me, morning not for one. Oh, so today you're not like on the morning show. Hello, Steven. Hello, Becky. What's up? What's up? What's up? Good evening, everyone. All right, I think we have like quite a number of people, so we can start. Good evening, Tina. So my name is Melody, like you all know, and today I am your host for Don Zubby's live show. So we're having an interesting topic today. Do you think our African women have lost their cultural identity? You know, so I watched the video. Oh, I was, but not active. I was on and off. Hope you'll be active this evening, Abby. Hope you'll be active this evening. Oh, sorry. Hello. So yeah, do you think our African women have lost their cultural identity? You know, like there's some things that make. Who's this one again? Hey, if you're Indian, please don't call me. I beg. All these Indian people should leave me alone. Honestly, all these Indian people may not call me. Yeah, so like I was saying, like cultural identity is like something that identify us, like our belonging, like we belong to this group of people or this particular nationality, ethnicity, class, and stuff like that. And so I watched the video today or yesterday, I can't actually remember, and the man was saying that like our African women, they've actually lost their cultural identity. Like the kind of things you see African women doing now, you cannot see like our form. I cannot say form mothers, but I mean our mothers doing all those kind of things. One of the example is you cannot see like during the olden days. You cannot see that a woman is sitting down and a man is cooking. It's not possible. Like the way he plays the story, it's like we the African women, we are losing our cultural identity. There are things we're doing that are unheard of. There are things that are like abomination, and it doesn't identify with us as African women. And he gave an example of like Indian women. He gave an example of like the dressing. You can see an Indian woman, no, even if she go abroad, even if she go Obodo Yibo, she go America, if you go still to see her with that her scarf, you go still to see her with that long dress and everything. But you see, we African women, once we don't leave that our border, once we don't leave that our border, enter plane, we go drop every cultural thing wey we learn from our father house or from our mother house, and then like come to this particular place like Europe or wherever it is you're staying, and then you forget about all the doctrines and everything you've been taught. So yeah, I would be waiting for your opinions, your ideas, anything. You can call in. I mean, there's even new way of people calling in today. I see that I could see that 4 people could call in at once. So yeah, so you can call in. I don't understand this question. No, old days and now are not the same. So if old days are now are not, does that mean we should lose our cultural identity because we don't, olden days and this century are not the same? There are other countries that be other ethnicity that still practice the same thing that have been practiced in the olden days. So are you trying to say that because we are now in the 21st century, we should lose our cultural identity? My dad used to cook for us then, especially on Sunday. Okay, all right, that is good. So I'll be waiting for callers. Yeah, you come in, you talk, you give. I mean, this is an interesting topic. Okay, there's so many things to talk about. I mean, let's even take for example, like in the olden days, you cannot see an African woman taking pictures with just bra and pants. I mean, they're possible now in the olden days. I mean, that's not our culture. But now you can see young girls doing it. Do you think that we're losing our cultural identity gradually? And culture does not require time and date. Who be that? King, now the same thing, no. King, now the same thing. Me, I've been the ask because even because of say olden days and new days, now mean say we go lose ourselves now. So like this is it. Do you think we African women we are losing our cultural identity, or we've lost itself? Like not be just only Nigeria or maybe even people from South Africa. I mean, I'm talking about Africa and in general. I do think we are losing our cultural identity. Like the guy even made mention of something like, in the olden days, like our mothers feel there with our fathers, like for a long time, they get divorced. But now every small thing out, you're out of the relationship, you're out of the marriage. I mean, that is not something that we were trained with or we were brought up with. So let's talk about this. Boys calling or girls calling or do you think? Explain, what do you mean women lost their... Jidisa Baba, I'm sorry that you came in late. I have explained. I don't know. Jidisa Baba, first and foremost, what's your culture? Oh, then there's some that they even wear clothes. We they copy America, that's why. I think the media you think the media is the problem. But are you trying to say in the olden days there was no media or what? Beverly, which of the olden days women did they talk about? Which of the olden days women did they talk about? So yeah, you guys should call in. Let's talk about this. Do you think our African women they've lost their cultural identity? Like, yes, now definitely them go to divorce the olden days, but it's not as rampant as it is now, because like even like small people go just marry 1 month, 2 months, they don't say they want the divorce. I mean, see all those things when you be the date the person, like. No Instagram, no Facebook, no WhatsApp, no more village life, surrounded with tradition and culture. Okay. To those entering the Instagram live show now, good evening. Welcome. So now that you get, like with this your statement, you said down nowadays the girls of nowadays get hot temper and them no they patient at all. And them no they patient at all. So are you trying to like patience? This patience where them no get, do you mean that they're losing it? Do you mean that they're losing their cultural identity? Because a good woman in Africa is defined by the amount of suffering she can endure. Now, white devils no ram, but everybody then they do wife material. Hmm. 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 Okay. So to the men in the house, like, do you think our African women are losing their cultural identity? That there's so many things like this modern day women there. Yeah. There's so many things that are nowadays not like girls, women like they're doing now, and like I don't know, you might see it as as an eyesore or things that you just feel like nah, this is not supposed to be happening. You understand? For example, I can say maybe the kind of clothes. In no be me talk am na person talk am for the comment section. So me I just asked the question, but now, for example, let's say the kind of clothes that we see some of these girls putting on, or some of those women putting on nowadays. I mean, in our culture, dressing is part of our culture, and not exposing your body and stuff like that. You know, Beverly, I'm gonna wait for your call. Not just the right for the comments section. I'll call today. Come call. Okay, them they marry virgin, but now them they test before marry. Okay, make I drink to this one. Mm. Mm-hmm. Now who they test the people? So now they test. Hello, Kojo. What's up? What's up, Kojo? How you doing? So Kojo, do you think our African women are losing their cultural identity? I mean, they don't even lose and finish. What do you think? What do you think? Are they losing the cultural identity, or they don't even finish to they lose them, or the things still they undergo? You think like our African women will no longer have we no longer have cultural identity anymore. We have taken they've taken the way of the without being told you. I want to take no. How do I want to know are my rules? I want to know. How do I want to know? Tell me now. Baby sweet talk, oh, I'm here, or I'm here for you guys. Talk to me, speak to me, let's go. I'm waiting for our first caller. You guys should call in. I be want me to start calling you. Hello, Efosa. What's up? Long time. Where have you been? Efosa, do you think our African women, do you think our African women like they've lost their cultural identity? Throne, leave these girls alone. No. Throne, leave these girls alone. If you come call now, you call. If you don't like the way them they think, you call now to tell us how you they think. Eposa, you never know anything. Eposa, you never know anything. Nothing. Look at you. So, guys, boys, women, do you think our African women have lost their cultural identity? I think I should play a video for you guys. I mean, from the video where I watched the stuff from. Let me see if I can play it from here. Efforts are no good. Make efforts are no good talk. Oh.
Identity. Nigerian women, East African women, women from Ghana, they have no cultural identity. And I'm going to explain to you what I mean. You see, I work in an industry, identity. Nigerian women, East African women, women from Ghana, they have no cultural identity. And I'm going to explain to you what I mean.
I mean, can you guys hear this?
You see, I work in an industry, which is information technology. In information technology, there is one country that really, really stands out when you talk about information technology, and it's India. Indians, for some weird reason, I don't know how they...
Can you guys hear this? I don't know if you guys can hear what he's saying.
Context. Everybody maybe went in for IT. The whole country made a powerful reference to IT, just like China made a huge push into industrialization that deals with tools. The idea of having the tools to make a car or make a shoe, a heavy industrialization that they can use to serve the world. India went into this heavy thing about information technology. In my 12 years of working in information technology, everywhere I go, it's loaded with Indians. It's all. If the information technology, for example, if a place has maybe 20,000 workers, I'm talking about a huge place, in which maybe 10,000 of their workers are engineers, software engineers, computer engineers, so on and so forth. I can assure you that of the 10,000, 9,500 will be Indians. So what has been my exposure then? Indian women. They're the one, they're 4 feet, some of them little 4 feet, things, small things that are making dream money. They came direct from their village into the system and they're making 180,000, 190,000, 200,000 dream money. But there's a strange thing I notice about them. As they come to work, they're wearing their native wear, that thing that they tie and hang on their neck with that dot here. Another strange thing I've noticed about them is you will never, ever, for all my years, I stayed in the United States, I was born here. In all my years of staying here, you will never hear the Indian women dragging their men to the American court system for divorce. It is our women that use the American court system to destroy our men. They bring the court in to help them destroy the men. You will never hear Indian women doing that thing. You will never hear women from China taking Chinese men into the American court system to destroy them with divorce. You will never hear women from Korea dragging their men in huge numbers into the American court system to destroy them. But when it comes to African women, East Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, when it comes to African women, they just drag their men into the court system. One of the things that I've noticed in this system or in this problem is poverty. Bring these Indian women, they're making 150,000, 180,000. They don't drag their men into court. Plus, sometimes, like in most places, all the places I've ever worked in information technology, they'll have one car. Not that I'm supporting that behavior, but there's something strange on why I see them. They have one car. They'll wait for their husbands. Even if their husbands are working 2 hours overtime, over their time, they'll wait. Some of them pregnant, waiting for their husbands. When it's finished, they go into the same car with their husband and drive home. I watch Indian women and women from so many other people. They're not crazy about the Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all the designers wears. They're not even interested. Indian women, I meet them. They've been here 15 years, 20 years. They still keep their accent. They still speak as if they're living in India. But when I meet our women, and our women, all that they have to do is just get to a level where they're making 50,000, 60,000, 70,000 or 80,000 a year. I'm talking about small money. Small money. Immediately the marriage is in danger. And they change. They start bleaching. And they start talking, sure, yeah, sure, yeah, sure, yeah, I went, oh my God, I went to New York. And I'm like, even I who was born here, I don't speak like that. I look at others like the Chinese, they can't speak English very well, and their women may be driving very expensive cars that belong to their husbands. And I look at the Indian women who don't speak English very well, and they're not interested in changing their accent or their undertone. And they wear their native dress, that thing, and everything to work. I look at Korean women, I look at other women, they have this sense of cultural identity. African women do not have a sense of cultural identity whatsoever. Little money, and the marriage is over. One thing I discovered, a common trend, once the women make, they go nurse. 80,000 is all they need to make. And suddenly your marriage is in danger. They want to call the shots. They want to be the ones that control everything. And if you don't like it like that, they'll bring in the American courts to destroy your life, to destroy everything around you. They will insult you, and I'm like, 80,000 is all that it takes for someone to change, or 70,000, because most of them, even the 80,000 is overtime. They've worked themselves Sunday, Saturday, Saturday night, Sunday nights. They've worked themselves to death. That money that they make as overtime is what is now changing into something that they will destroy everything around them. You know, the part that I see also is that a lot of, and I remember whenever I make my videos, I refer to bitch-ass men. Bitch-ass men. It has come to a point where we really can't define marriages in the African context anymore in the United States, because the man is changing diapers, he's washing the plates, he's sweeping the floor, he's cooking. Most men now have to cook to keep their marriages intact. He's picking the kids and dropping them. I've seen the experiences. I don't need to go far. I don't want to go too, but the woman is shouting at them, where's the child's belt? Where's the child's socks? Where's the child's everything? And the women go around telling everybody, we are partners. There's nothing like head of the household. We are partners. Okay. So the men are doing everything in the women's role and also doing everything in their role, and they also keep their jobs. And that is supposed to be the perfect. If you don't do like that, they'll call American court on you. This partner thing, I've seen people try it, and it leads to disaster. Like he says, okay, so since I'm the one doing the laundry and washing the plates and cooking the food, can you help me change that bulb? No, that's a man's job. Okay, can you help me change the engine oil in the car? No, that's a man's job. Okay, can you help me paint the other? No, it's a man's job. The women are quick to tell you what's a man's job, but you must do your job and do their job now, and do their job and keep your job also in the society, and come back and still, even there's no respect, you're supposed to be submissive, or the marriage ends on your head. And when you look into it, she started making $80,000, and I compare that with the Indian women who make 150,000, 160,000, 180,000. And don't forget, this is India, where they kill. I mean, a woman just saying no to the husband, they start the honor killings. The men.
I mean, it's a long video, but at least we can catch what exactly he's saying and what exactly he's talking about. So yeah, back to our question. Ini, I saw your question where you said this is limited to married people. No, not just married people, like girls. So do you think African girls, African women, we have lost our cultural identity? It's not just in marriage. Like, I mean, the things you do here now as a woman, if you've been there, if you to say you did Nigeria, you fulfill the do some of the clothes you wear here, can you wear them if you're in Nigeria? Do you think, I mean, can you say that we are losing our cultural identity as women or not? I'm waiting for callers. I'm waiting for your opinion. And then let's talk about this. Is an interesting topic now. Let's talk about this. Hey, let me play my song. So you heard the guy. He said that now some men now they cook, they wash plates, they change diapers, they do all this one, and then the women, what are they doing? They are just sitting down. They are not doing anything. I mean, is this supposed to be so? Is this supposed to be so or not? Is this supposed to be so? Is this supposed to be so or not? Addis Ababa, from where you're from, right? Is it the responsibility of the woman or the man to cook? Like, from where you're from? You could just leave a fossa alone, I beg. Oh my own asthma is that man and woman can do hash. For me as a man, I cook and I enjoy doing it. That's nice. So, but do you think like diplomatic Korea? Do you think like that? Do we, the African women, we are losing our cultural identity? Not just in the kitchen, it might be somewhere else. It might not only be in the kitchen. Some maybe our character, the way we behave, or the things we do. Like, I mean, these are things that as an African woman, you're not supposed to do it. You know. Hello, Lord Chris. What's up? Good evening. Pull up, pull up, pull up. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is
Hi.
Jacqueline.
Mm-hmm. And
Jacqueline
you're
Addis Ababa from South Sudan, as you know.
mm-hmm.
If you
Okay.
don't know, now you know.
All right. So yeah, tell us. Do you think like we as African women we've lost our cultural identity, or we are losing our cultural identity?
Also, because this guy is talking, first of all, he was talking about how women dress. If you are to dress, you did not dress these clothes, you still wear them back home. Even if you compare people, what they are wearing here and what they are wearing there is the same.
Mm-hmm.
It is the same. It is the same, and it's normal. And him saying that women, they drag you to court when they have more money. It's about how you treat them. It's
Hmm.
about you and your woman. It's not all women that do that.
Hmm.
So I literally, this is like the first time I be hearing about somebody like doing all that, dragging people to court because they have more money than you and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I never heard of it. I just heard of it for the first time now. So actually, I don't believe that they are losing their culture. I think it's, I don't, I don't see how they are doing it. Like literally, I don't see the point. Maybe they
Okay.
be changing. See, they
Mm-hmm.
be changing. Things change. It's normal, but doesn't mean, please see somebody that as educated, they don't have the accent, they may not have everything and all these things, but if you look at them, they know about their country, they know about their culture. So I don't think it's they are losing anything. It's just people, they are seeing that the more educated you get, that's mean you're going to lose yourself in the way you dress up, in the way you are owning up for everything. And
Mm-hmm.
what's wrong with a man cooking?
I don't know.
I literally, we
Mm-hmm.
it's we my family, my mother stays in South Sudan. I
Mm-hmm.
like to stay in Kenya mostly.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to Kenya and I stay with my father because he
Mm-hmm.
comes to Kenya if I go there. He cooks sometimes. I will just be like, I am going somewhere. And I just come home and I find him, he cooks something for us to eat. So I don't think there is anything wrong with it.
But the thing here is, if you like you said, your dad is in Kenya, right, and your mom is in South Sudan. Is that
No,
correct?
no. I am the one who loves to stay in Kenya. So my dad comes to Kenya with
Mm-hmm.
me, and then we go
Mm-hmm.
back to South Sudan.
Okay,
But
so now when you're in South Sudan with your family,
mhm.
like your father would stand up and go to the kitchen to cook for you, like your mom is there.
My father and yeah, my father and my mom are not staying together, but my father still go and cook.
Okay, so let's take for example, like if you're because everything like
He still
previously,
does it.
he's still. Oh, really?
He still does it because he has his own house, and I go there, and he still does it. He cooks, even if we're in South Sudan or we're in Kenya. He does it. That's the
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Okay, very good.
So people just have this thing. It's just the ego of a man seeing himself that he's better. And plus him saying the women doing this thing, women about the cars, they are not saying they can't do it. If you know it, you would do it. But they
Mm-hmm.
don't know it. What? The electricity, all these things, I do them. Back home, I do them. I fix things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good when it comes to fixing things. It doesn't mean that it's a man's job. Like I can fix a bed, I can do these things. Those things I used to do it back home. And they
Mm-hmm.
used to be like, no, this is a man's job, but I still do it anyhow. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
believe in something called a man's and a woman's. It's just about how people are educated and how
Mm.
their understanding is the level of their understanding.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yep.
So, what advice now do you have to give to people that think that we women are losing our cultural identity? What advice do you have to give to them?
Is it women that are losing or men? That is the question that is supposed to be asked, because I see it's like the men losing it, not women's here.
Oh, it's the
Mhm.
oh
Mhm.
wow wow
I think
wow
that, yes, come on.
wow.
I
So
think
you
it's
feel
men losing it here, not women. Women
hmm
are still themselves.
wow.
Please tell me women that are here that don't know how to cook their own food. Tell me a
Mm-hmm.
woman that don't know things about their country, or wouldn't be and come back to the things that they would be talking about. You'd be like coming about the cultural and all these things, and tell me that that woman won't lead your house.
Hmm.
She would do so. So you ask the men, are they sure it's women losing it, or they are the one losing it?
Wow. 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 Wow.
Yeah, so that should be their thing.
Someone is saying, so you
Please,
still
can
hate
you
men?
stop saying that I hate men? I do. Hi. So the thing is, people keep saying that these things, they have these things that a wife is supposed to be doing itself, and like a man is supposed to be watching you clean and watching you do things. Hello, as you want to work, I want to work too. As you
Mm-hmm.
want to rest, I want to rest too. It's me, you. We're supposed to look for each other, like have each
Mm-hmm.
other's back. It's their understanding. I think it's just people not getting the level of understanding of each other. And
Okay.
I won't be lying. Women are getting more educated. Sorry, man. I do not hate you, but yes, that's the fact.
Also, can you repeat that again? Repeat it again.
Women are getting more educated than you men. I'm sorry.
Mm, mm,
No hate,
mm.
no feeling attached, no hard feelings, but they are.
Wow.
So yeah.
All right then, no problem. I would let's thank you for calling on our live show today. Your first caller. Thank you. I hope you'll be on the comment section and you'll be hearing from other people also.
I'll
Okay.
be watching. I'll be
All
watching.
right then. Thank you so much and do have a nice evening, Jacqueline. What's happening here? Okay. This drone, I don't know. What in Moscow women do. I know just understand. So yeah, back to our topic. Back to our topic. Do you think our African women are losing their cultural identity or they've lost their cultural identity? There's so many things that can identify us as Africans. And do you think we as the African women, we are losing it? All right, so waiting for next caller. Dun, 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 dun. Hmm. Okay. Please call MCIB. All right. Tell MCIB to pick his call.
Sorry, I'm in the dark. Oh wow.
Oh,
Hiya. I'm so
hello.
sorry. I can't have the light
Okay.
on. Hi, nice to speak to you.
Nice to speak to you. What's your name, please, and where are you calling from?
CIB. I'm calling from Isaleko, and I'm joking. I'm calling from the UK.
Oh, from the UK. Can you please switch on your lights, please?
I look very shabby. I'm so sorry.
Sweetheart, it doesn't really matter, you
It
know.
matters because you're going to save this life. Don't worry. Let me just quickly say my point and go.
Okay.
Um. Okay. So, do you think our African women have lost their cultural identity?
Yeah.
If I say yes, they'll come for me. If I say no, they'll come for me.
My
But
dear,
I'm just
just
going.
say anyone.
It's
Say
not a
what you
it's,
believe.
it's not a clear it's not a yes or no question.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm going to answer directly, I would say yes.
Hmm. Can you explain to us how?
Yeah. So, but then I'm saying yes simply because the reason why it feels like they've lost their identity is because they're now probably more aware and they're trying to be like some other. So let's just say the Western woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you travel abroad and you see all these women getting away with the things that you couldn't get away with in Nigeria.
Hmm.
And you're thinking, I can do that too. So, for example, in the UK where I live, sometimes we hear about women kicking their husbands out the house,
Hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
saying they're fine, they don't need any man, blah, 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 blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah.
Mm-hmm.
These things would not happen if we were in our countries.
Mm-hmm.
We know this. And
Yeah.
yeah, fine. Now you're more independent. Now you have money. Now you can work and everything. It still doesn't mean, or it still should not mean that you should no longer be submissive. But that's another topic. But why I'm saying that is because I see that very recently, the amount of feminists that have come from Nigeria alone is enough for the whole world. I'm telling you, the amount of feminists and they don't even know what
Ooh.
feminism is. They don't even
Wow.
understand what they're fighting for.
Mm-hmm.
And they always forget that no matter what you do, no matter how you try, this is going to hurt, but you can never be equal to a man. Yes, you can have the same level of income or
Mm-hmm.
even higher, right? Yes,
Mm-hmm.
you might even be the breadwinner, but there's still the order of the day is literally the man is the head of the house.
Hmm.
So when you now try to start battling with him, trying to take, that's not our culture. Our culture doesn't say. I mean, another thing that even happened as well is that men also started losing their own role because now, back in the day, the man was the head because he was the sole provider, right? So
Yeah.
now that they started splitting bills, that's what I think happened. I think when men started saying, "Oh yeah, oh, you to bring money, you pay for light, I pay for water." That's when the man started losing his respect small, small. When it shouldn't have been so, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think women were used to that. So they
Hmm.
started feeling like, well, if I'm paying bill, me too, I'm a boss. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So that started. I feel like I'm not sure, but I feel like that started diminishing the respect as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it shouldn't have been so because in our culture, we've been taught to be submissive to our men. And
Mm.
submission is not slavery. If you know the right definition and you speak to your grandmother, you would know that submission is not slavery.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
literally just you allowing a man to be a man, allow him to be the man. It's
Hmm.
hard sometimes, or it's very difficult. It's very annoying, but you have to do what you have to do
Mm-hmm.
according to our culture. If you
Yeah.
really, and if you know you don't want to be a cultural woman anymore, then accept your new Western identity. Don't come running back. Take everything that comes with it,
Hmm.
even the
Hmm.
bad and the good and the ugly. It's true. Because now, when things start happening where you kick the man out of the house, you put your children at risk, you think you can do it alone, you can't. You see how the kids will turn out. It's never the same.
Hmm.
No matter how we try, some women are strong enough. Some women have men in their families that can stand in the gap.
Mm-hmm.
But trust me, the absence of a man is usually clear in the
Hmm.
family. When the man is not there, it's very clear. You
Wow.
cannot deny. Trust me, I know a lot of women that would have turned, well, a lot of lady girls my age that would have turned out a lot better if they had their fathers in their lives.
Wow. Hmm.
Because we always try to diminish the authority of the man because we feel like now we are Western women. Now we are westernized and we've seen the lights. They
Hmm.
call it enlightenment. Now they don't see. Now they are no longer dependent on the man financially. Blah blah. It's not all about depending on him financially.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what's the culture telling you. The culture's telling you, yes, I know they call it patriarchy or whatever, but trust me, if we followed the order of what our religion, our culture, not religion, sorry, mistake, what our religion set out for us, not religion, what our culture set out for us and
Mm-hmm.
our ancestors laid down for us, we won't be
Mm-hmm.
where we are today because I don't think back in the day they had so many, um, you know, lost children and lost mothers and everything like we do now. I feel like the family tree has deteriorated because we're trying so hard to be westernized. That's one side of it. Now, the other side, I wouldn't say so that's my argument for the fact that they've lost it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying yes, they've definitely lost it. However, the other part is it might not be that they really lost it because, like I said, now we are more educated. Now we know better. So back
Mm-hmm.
in the days, a woman would put up with an abusive relationship, but now she wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But then, obviously, abuse wasn't in the culture. Abuse is just somebody with a bad attitude, somebody, just one person, or maybe 10 people. It has nothing to do with the culture. The culture never said be abusive to your woman. It said look after your woman. You are the
Mm-hmm.
man.
Mm-hmm.
And it said the woman submit to your man, and everything would have been sweet. But because obviously now women know better, they're not gonna let anybody because they've seen what their mothers have gone through, and they think it's because she was submissive. No, it was because she was maybe too financially independent. Now, because a lot of women would have been able to leave situations where they were if they had the money to leave, but most of them didn't have the money. So I
Mm-hmm.
think what we should have done, instead of just saying we're throwing the old culture away, what we should have done was pick out the good parts
Mm-hmm.
and try and resolve the bad parts. So, for example, if you know you want to settle, you will get married to your man, but you would not be 100% financially dependent on him. So, God forbid if he's abusive, you're able to pick up your bags and go.
Okay. I see.
So, yes, the culture was there to guide us, but we're thinking the culture actually came to ruin us. So let me just answer the question so I don't ramble off. Do I
Mm-hmm.
think we've lost our cultural identity? Yes, because now, trust me, even to little things like our hair,
Yeah, I
we
wanted to
don't
make
we don't
mention
we,
of that.
we don't
Yeah,
want to
our
do
hair.
afros. Like, I don't know, but for me personally, when I have wigs on, I get a
Mm-hmm.
headache.
Mm.
I get a headache. It's terrible. But if I leave my hair out, like my natural hair, because for some reason I'm lucky and I've got like really good hair. But when
Mm-hmm.
I left my hair out for like nearly 6 months or a year, I did not have
Mm-hmm.
no headaches, nothing. And my
Wow.
curls are built. Like, I'm telling you, hairdressers will tell me that, where did you get your hair from? And I'm like, I'm Nigerian, fully Nigerian. So to things like our hair, everything we're doing, it feels like we're trying to copy a particular kind of, look. Now we
Mm-hmm.
want to look like, we want to look white, really. Let's just be real and say it. We want the long, straight hair. Why? But
Yeah.
God gave you
Even
curly
when
hair.
when we change the way we speak, our accent.
Lord, don't tell me about it. I know people that have never left Nigeria, but their accent is higher than my own.
Hmm.
And I've been in the UK for years. Like,
Hmm.
sometimes I don't even know I'm speaking a certain way. But people will be like, oh, you're from London. I'm like, okay, okay, okay. And these people never let Nigeria talk normally. They start to twist their tongue and you can't understand what they're saying. I've been in the Nigerian airport where I did not understand what the lady was saying
Hmm.
because she was trying so hard to be like, I'm like, nah, just speak clearly. Back in the days, if you watch videos of people like, I don't know, those top politicians back then, the Hausa
Mm-hmm.
ones, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what their names are, but if you watch the way they used to speak, they were not trying to have any other accent. They were just trying to speak properly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it should be. In fact, I want people to hear my name, which they do, and say, "Oh, you're not, you're black, you're African." And I'm like, "Yeah." And when people spell my name wrong, I get upset too. Like, don't spell my name wrong. If you can spell Trivosky, like Chiamanda said, you should be able to
Yeah.
spell Ibukonlua. Exactly. So what's the issue? So to even our looks, the way we speak, the way we dress now, I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you, African women are supposed to, if we follow our culture, we're supposed to be covered up.
Mm. Mm.
We're
Okay.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
If we look through
So,
all the
so
pictures
what
back in the
advice now
days,
do you have for we African women that are losing our culture? What advice do you have for
if
us?
you are lost, what do? You find your way back.
So you want us to start covering ourselves up? You want us to start
Oh no, I'm
speaking?
not. I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to tell people what to do with their lives. But
Mm-hmm.
me personally, I'm on a journey where I've started going back to read about, my culture and my tradition. I'm Yoruba, so
Mm-hmm.
when I started reading, books about, the history of the Yorubas and blah blah blah, things like that, and I made up my mind that, you know what, well, for like before Corona came up, I made up my mind. I chucked out all my clothes that were too exposed. All the clothes that had, boobs out. Trust me, I used to love those things before. Me, I like my cleavage out a lot. I don't know why. I used to love my back open. I used to love my short dresses. But I said, you know what? We need to get rid of these things. We need to now trust me, you feel a lot better and you attract a better set of men when you're covered up. Try it. Just try it for 6 months. You dress elegantly without exposing much. I'm not saying wear turtleneck. I'm not saying wear long dress to the skirt, but there's a way you would dress. Look at the royal family in the UK now. Look at the royal family. You see how they still look good, but they're covered up. But it all depends on what everyone wants to do. But me personally, I'm on a journey where I'm trying to retrace myself back. I don't want to say, oh, because I'm in the United Kingdom now, I want to do what I like and forget where I've come from. Do you understand? So me personally, I'm trying to be more covered up. I'm trying to look after my natural hair. So now all my wigs, I don't even know where they are. I mean, they're expensive though, and it's painful that I have to let them go. But I don't know where they are. And because they give me a headache anyway, I can't use them. So I left them.
Okay.
So I'm trying to look more like I should have been anyway. If I don't need to wear, I mean, this one is going to be deep, but if I don't need to wear makeup, I don't wear it. I won't sit in my house now and start with painting my face. For what? Do you understand? And now I try to use natural products in my body. So shea butter. I even go as far as using herbs. So instead of having paracetamol or all this white medicine, I try to go and buy my ginger, garlic, lemon. I blend it together and I drink that thing.
Wow.
So I'm trying my best to go back to my roots. We have everything we need in Africa. So why are we looking outside? Anyway, I'll let another person come through now. Except you got any questions for me.
So much. Thank you so much for
All
coming.
right, then.
I don't have any other questions. You just said everything, okay? Thank you so much, and do have a nice evening, sweetheart.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Ooh la la. Please, you can end it here from here. So, hey, Chris, leave me alone, no. Chris, leave me alone. So, yeah. Do you think our African women have lost their cultural identity? What do you think? I think someone make. Let me see. Okay. Who am I gonna? Who is Lati? Yeah, so oh yeah. So
Hi guys.
Hello. What's up? How you doing?
I'm good. How are
I'm
you?
fine. What's your name and where you calling from?
Okay, my name is Ini. I'm Nigerian. I'm calling from Russia.
Okay, very good. So, Ini, do you think our African women have lost their cultural identity?
Like the last caller said, I can't say yes and I can't say no because it's rather relative. Okay, so I had to Google cultural identity because everybody seems to have narrowed it down to the dressing or the role of a wife or all those things. So I Googled it and I'm going to read it to you from Wikipedia.
Okay.
So cultural identity is the identity of belonging to a group. It's part of self-conception and self-perception in relation to nationality, ethnicity, religion, social class, generation, locality. So a lot of aspects that go to defining one's cultural identity. But it's not limited to just because she's an African woman, she should dress in a particular way, or she should style her hair in a particular way, or she should play the role of a woman. You can't limit it to that. It's not valid.
Okay.
At all. So the African cultural identity from the onset has been changed right from the point of westernization. The minute the white people colonized Africa, they redefined cultural identity. They redefined every part of it. So the people that chose to stick out and hold on to the native part of cultural identity had to do that on their own. But in the general aspect, in the general sense of it, it has been evolved. That's changed generally. So there's no straight path. There's no guideline that's okay. As an African woman, you have to dress in a particular way. You have to wear ankara, or you have to tie only your boobs and wear waist beads. Nah, like it doesn't apply anymore because there's evolution. So in this case, in that video you showed us, now the guy was he had rather specific examples. He said Indian women, they're going into IT. You said an Indian woman, she stays with her sari, all those things. They chose to they're westernized Indian women that wear makeup, straighten their hair. They don't wear. In fact, they're in my school. Even on Indian nights, you see certain Indian girls wearing Indian clothes. Does that make them any less Indian? No. They are still Indians.
Okay.
To their blood, they smell like curry. They are still as Indian can be, but they have evolved because of where they are based. They've evolved because they decided to change their personal perception of themselves. They're not limited to just the ideology of how Indian women should be or how Indian women should behave. That's to African women. I think the guys in that video, he was actually talking because of where he was. He said he was in the US, and I've heard a lot of things about African women in the US, and I'm always very shocked because I find it very hard to believe. Most of those things they say, they're actually very true. They say African women in the US, they act like the westernized women, and I almost cannot blame them because there's the part of acculturation. Acculturation is the concept of changing your social and cultural mentality based on where you are. They are in the US, so it is valid, absolutely valid, for them to decide to evolve culturally, blend into what they're saying. It's valid. It's not right, it's not wrong, but it's valid. So like they're allowed to. I'm in Russia. I can decide to be like a Russian woman. I'm a screaming at my husband. In Russia, the men don't work. Most of the women are the ones that do the work. If you notice.
Yeah, that's true.
If you call a bricklayer to your house, it's a woman that will come with her sister. I can tell and say, okay, because I'm in Russia, I can acculturate myself and be like that. I will find one rich man.
But you know,
just have money.
White people don't come to Africa and change their culture.
Because nobody colonized them. We were colonized, so our cultural identity has evolved. Whether we want to accept it or not, we have. You see, I'm in Russia. Like, if someone brings maybe ewedu to this place, the way I'll be jumping that ewedu I've not eaten in that many years, I'll be very happy. According to the culture, I should be eating ewedu every day because why? I have the liver going behind me, but I don't have that here in Russia because it's not available. I'm forced to eat manka. I'm forced to eat oats. Because I don't have that. Does that make me any less of an African woman? No. If I see ewedu now, I will cook it like I'm in Nigeria. Nothing happened to me.
Okay.
The lady from the UK said something about the accent. That accent it's understandable because you are in the UK, so you can adjust your accent a little bit. But then we were taught English, right?
But not with
in my primary school.
Ghana, mana.
That one is easy. It's not based. You're just adding spice to your accent. We're talking English. Right. In primary school, I did phonetics. On how to pronounce certain words. There are certain audiences that I would change my accent for, so that they can hear me clearly because I talk fast normally. So I will actually adjust. I will not be doing no. I will not be saying darling. But I will tune up my accent a little bit so they can hear me. In that case, it's valid because I'm not going to speak Yoruba with Oyinbo accent. Nah, I will not do that. But if I'm speaking English, I'm allowed to alter certain things because it's English. It's not my language. And it's Queen's English, oh please, oh it's Queen's. So I have some kind of you know what I'm saying. So it's allowed. It's actually allowed.
So someone is saying that so because we were colonized, we should stay colonized.
We are already colonized. It's not of staying we're already colonized. It's you that will not decide how much colonization do you want to let in personally. So dressing how culturally you're not supposed to expose your body. Say happen. Go and Google Igbo cultural outfit. Google Edo cultural outfit. What do they wear? They wear a piece of clothes to cover breast. One short wrapper around your waist. Abi? You put anklets, put wrist bead, you put bracelets, put waist beads. That's the end of it. That's the end of the dressing.
But their cleavages don't show.
Their cleavages don't show. Their stomach is showing. Their arms are showing. Their thighs are showing. So what are you not saying?
Okay.
Even the Yoruba. Just say let me say Yoruba. We have this outfit they call Oleku. It's like buba and a wrapper. Buba will cover your body, yes, but the wrapper will be very, 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 very short. My dear, with all that leg exposed, anybody can be seduced with that. Anybody. It's not even valid to say, okay, you have to embrace your cultural identity with dressing. If I saw short dress with Ankara, it's not also cultural identity. It's not Ankara material I'm using for it. It is so it's not valid. And look at Russia. Russia is cold now. Let's say because I want to be cultural, I will throw my jeans side dustbin and be wearing ashoke up and down. I'm wearing Iran Buba. Make cold slap me. I can't do that. So I've been forced to acculturate myself with the Russian climate and the Russian culture. But I'm still as African as I can be. If I go back home, I'll speak Yoruba like this. They will never know that I'm coming from the abroad because I'm in my house. I'm at home, my home base. There's not go to the aspect of marriage. The African culture, the foundation of African marriage. There's nothing like there's no church aspect to it or mosque aspect to it. It's only traditional marriage that is valid, right? Only the married way, only the one where you carry you carry goats to the wife's house and go and be begging the parents to marry the girl. That's the only part that is African in African marriage. That's like the only setting. But as soon as the Western kind of marriage comes into play, where there's the role of divorce, you are no longer embracing African culture. So at that point, whether you like it or not, you are colonized, you are westernized. So it's a whole blend. You will not personally choose what values you want to adapt and hold on to and carry into your marriage. That one is on you. It's not a matter of African man and African woman, because any woman now, whether you're African or not, if the marriage is not working for you and you're trying to fix things, the guy is giving you basketballs, beating you up, or even if it's the other one, if the one is giving you basketballs, she's beating you up. If you reach like this, if you choke finish, you carry your leg and you leave the marriage because you did not come this life to suffer. But it doesn't make it any less African or any less cultural in any way. Like it is not valid at all. If you want to focus on African identity to the fullest, then drop every ounce of westernization, like every ounce. Drop the English language straight away. Speak your native language. Drop your clothes. Throw away any English clothes you have. Straight away. Be wearing only native clothes. Don't even wear shoe because they didn't wear shoe back in the days. Don't wear shoe. Throw your shoe away. What does it get? If you're educated, throw your degree side dustbin. Go and be a native doctor. Then you cannot say yes, you are full blown African with full blown African culture embedded in you. But till then, if you not do all that, absolutely nobody has any right to justify or undermine anybody's personal identity, because your cultural identity is a personal thing for you. You can be African to the core and choose to embrace different cultures and put it together and make it yours. It is valid. It's absolutely valid. So because it doesn't suit your partner or it doesn't suit person you're with. That's not the problem. That's not the problem.
So,
So it's always
someone
we can
asked a
actually
question. Someone said something here that when you first entered into the live show, right? You said cultural identity has evolved and it isn't about only dressing. Can you talk about the other parts?
I talk about the part of religion, ethnicity. What other part should I talk about? Like, give me a particular part to talk about, because there are about 7 parts in this definition here.
What's those definitions you even said? I've
There's,
forgotten.
ethnicity, religion, social class, generation, location. I already talk about location,
Yeah.
how you have to culturalize yourself to where you are. I talk about your personal. If you talk about social class basically talks about like your level of living. Let's put it that way. Your standard of living. See, look at now. Take Nigeria for example. Look at the rich class. No matter how culturally identified they are with African culture, they still embrace westernization. I mean, they fly with helicopters and private jets. Why are they not using a canoe where they're going to? It's not part of it's part of the culture, no? It's part of the culture too. But they are forced. They're not forced to. They are just they have the means and the end to embrace westernization because they are in that class. They're in that social class. It doesn't make them less African or less Nigerian. It doesn't make them. They're not going anywhere with their name and say I'm now an American. They are still going to be as Nigerian as they can be. Social class allows them to embrace certain parts of westernization that can improve their lives, and it's allowed and it's valid. Like, it's valid. You see these rich people now getting married, the rich Nigerian class people. You don't hear any. The wife probably doesn't do any cooking. Maybe she has a maid or something. You will not hear her husband saying, my wife doesn't cook. She does not clean. She's no longer an African woman. She's now an Oyinbo woman. You will not hear that because their social class allows them. Is she still African? Yes. To her core, she is. Even if she bleaches her skin and tries to look yellow, look white, you can see her green veins. She's still African. She's still African. Nothing can change that. So everything still boils down to your personal choice. It's still on you. It's still on you.
Okay.
It's still on no matter what. So I feel like now at this point, this discussion, do you think African women have lost their cultural identity? Is now a question of a personal thing. Do you think your African woman they are looking at and trying to judge with this standard has lost it? You need to look yourself, because for you to even think that you have a standard definition of cultural identity, you already defeated the whole idea of cultural identity, because it's a personal thing and it can evolve anytime. If I go to India now tomorrow, my dear, I wear sari. I wear.
Okay.
Does that make me an Indian girl? No. It doesn't make me Indian in any way. I'm still very African to my spirit. In fact, my ghost name will be African Joy, because last I'm African. What is Tron saying? What if she came to Moscow? Is she still African? Of course she's still African now. What? She's still African. No matter where she goes to, she's still African. So I can't say yes, I can't say no. I feel like cultural identity is a personal thing. So each one his own. It's that simple.
Okay. All right. Thank
That's
you
my
so
belief.
much, Ini, for coming to our live show. Okay. What advice do you have for people that are thinking that, as in we, the African women, we've lost our cultural identity? What advice do you have? What do you have to give to them?
They should educate themselves. Step one. I'm not. It's not a matter of insult. It's just fact. They should educate themselves. That's the first step. If you don't understand the idea behind cultural identity, then you are in no place to judge anybody or make discussions about anybody's cultural identity. And then if it suits you, you can if you find out that you're educated on the matter, and then you still feel like your women are losing their identity, then you cannot educate them and say, okay, I think in this aspect, and then people can find a compromise. It's that simple.
Okay. Thank you so much, dear. Thank you so much for coming to our live show this evening. I hope you'll be on the stage there.
I will stay here
And
and
listen.
attack those people that are attacking me.
No problem. Do have a nice evening, Ini.
You too.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Hey, everybody. Why is it just African women? African men still have it. Now today we're talking about African women. Tomorrow we'll talk about African men if they still have their own culture identity. So yeah, do you think the African woman or an African woman still have or they've lost their cultural identity? This is an interesting topic. Oh, you guys should talk. Where is Steven? Steven, come and talk now. Steven, why are you declining? They are just trying to adapt to the latest trend. Adapting adapting to the latest trend, isn't that losing yourself? When you want to try to adapt to something that isn't yours, are you not trying to lose yourself? If we have cultural identity, nothing will be like feminism. Wow. Good evening, Boniface. So I'm waiting for the next caller. Like, do you think, as an African woman, and as an African woman, do you think that you've lost your cultural identity, or even when you look at your fellow sisters, do you think that they've lost their cultural identity? There's so many things. I mean, someone even talked about me putting on a wig. That means I'm losing. That means I'm losing my own culture. What defines culture? Language, food, dance, dress code, order. Why are people so focused on the black woman dress code to say she has lost her identity? Um, do we still dance cultural dance? Let me call this Santina. Oh my god. Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm back again. I just wanted to clear something real quick. Yeah.
Okay. Uh-huh.
I heard someone say that. I mean, I think it was Amy that was saying that it's culture is personal. Culture is not personal. Is it's something that identifies you. So when you look at Indians, how do you know that they're Indians? You see that red thing on their heads. You see the way they're dressed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you hear the language they speak.
Yeah.
These are part of the things that let you know that that's the culture that they're from,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah, I'm listening.
someone's trying to fight for the fact that culture is personal. It's not personal at all. It's what identifies you as a group, a particular behavior that a group has, a group of people. So we know for a fact that, okay, for example, Yoruba people, they eat amala. That's the culture. They wear Iro and Buba for their weddings. That's their culture. We know what the Igbo people wear, how they speak. We know the language. We know the kind of values, that they have. So that's their culture. It's a group thing. It's what identifies you with a particular group. So it's not personal. Okay. That's actually all I wanted to say. I'll let somebody else speak.
Okay, all right, no problem. I think we have Uncle Shagun in the.
Yeah, can you call that
Yes, good
bilateral
evening.
symmetry?
Yeah,
Wow,
good evening.
beautiful.
Can you please show us your face, please?
I'm actually in bed already
See, by
because I have
force.
Just
so
switch on your light, please. At least you can see my face now. And
I know I was on yesterday and people saw my face. So I'll be very quick.
someone say,
This,
show your
so
face with your full chest.
no. I always show myself as but I had a long day and I had a long last few days and I'm in bed now. But I'll say this very quickly. So I'm a 56-year-old man. Yeah. And I was born in England. I spent most of my life in England. I'm going to say this now. One of my greatest regrets, now that I'm much older, is I wish I was born and raised in Nigeria. I, I have two children. My youngest is 31. Yeah. And if I was to live my life again and I had to choose where I was born, I would love to have been born in Nigeria and raised as a Nigerian. Because there's so much of my culture. Good evening, everyone. There's so much of my culture that I have missed out on. There's so much on my language that I have missed out on. I speak Yoruba, but Yoruba has levels and there are depths to language. Now, what is culture? Your norms, your values, your customs, your language, your attitudes, behaviors that are particular and unique to a particular group of people. Now, when you begin to lose that, you begin to disintegrate. And when you begin to lose that as a nation of people, then you are easily subject to a takeover by others. I was doing a study about 20 years ago on what I observed in Nigeria, the westernization of Africa. We've always been westernized because obviously colonization came, but there's another wave that's happening. And it's happening through social media, it's happening through the internet, so that we are consuming things that belong to other people at the expense of ours. Our accents are changing. That's why a Nigerian in Nigeria who has never left Nigeria has an American accent, but he's never left Nigeria. There's a certain sense of inferiority that we have that makes us believe that everything Western, everything that's not us, is what we must consume at the expense of what is us. And that's why when we go to Nigeria, when we go to finally make it to America, we have our accents ready before we leave, or we acquire our US accent in 3 weeks of being there. And then the mentality, forgetting where we're coming from. When I was young, if you were traveling as a Yoruba person, one of the things your parents will say is, remember whose child you are. And it's not just about remembering the family you come from, but the culture that you represent. So yes, I'm in England, but I'm a Nigerian. And there'll be certain things that I will do that will remain Nigerian. I'm not going to buy into all of the Western nonsense. I understand that there's a little bit of adaptation that takes place because you're in a certain environment, but you don't lose your essence because you're here. I don't raise my children. I speak to my children the way I would have spoken to them if we were in Nigeria. I don't raise them with this, oh, we're in England, I can't discipline you, oh, you just do what you like. And no. Because where we come from, there is a way in which we behave. There is a way in which we manage certain things, including our relationships. There's a way in which we raise our children. So all of these sorts of things, I still carry within me. And I wish I understood more. So when I say to people that I wish, if I was to have a child now, I would not have a child in England, and I will not raise a child in England. I'll raise a child in Nigeria. There's a study of a lady in America, I can't remember her name now, who took her children from America, never been to Nigeria before, took her 2 daughters and went to Nigeria and raised her children as Nigerians. And she still lives, I think her name is Yaya Aduni or something. She still lives in Nigeria today. The problem with us Africans, and especially with Nigerians, is that we want to trade less. We want to trade more for less. You leave a country where you went to school and you were taught how to speak proper English. And then you go to England and you go and start saying, in it, you get me, which is like for people who didn't go to school. We go to America, we dress properly in Nigeria, and then we go to America and then we start looking like thugs and gangsters. You go into the music industry, because you want to sing a song, then you have to have a tattoo and look like a criminal and a miscreant. And all these other cultures are not looking to be like you. They're not looking to sound like you. They're holding on to who they essentially are. But we are disintegrating. And people who are disintegrated will be subjugated. It's just a matter of time. So there's something wrong with us. We start earning a little money, our husbands can't talk to us anymore. I know that there are abusive husbands and stuff like that, but most of this is not about abuse. Women are just not used to handling money. Now they're earning a bit of money, and this whole thing that our parents didn't earn money. Some of our parents, our mothers, earned good money, but they knew how to behave in their marriages.
So, Sam, so
yeah.
you think so now? Literally, what you're saying now, it's like our African women, they've lost their cultural identity. Is that what you're saying?
They are losing it, yes. And that you can tell by how they behave when they get abroad, how they behave when they come to London. Now we have a covenant with nakedness. We don't want to put clothes on.
A covenant with nakedness. Wow.
We think we're modernized. We think we're moving with the times. We're stupid. We were queens and princesses in our country. Now we're walking the streets like hoes and hookers. That's why they call us our women bitches. Yeah. And they are, because they present like bitches. Those aren't women.
Ouch.
We're being woke. We're not woke. We're sleeping and we're stupid.
Who's snoring?
It's true. When you listen, when you take more and you trade more for less, the people in America wish they had what we are trying to get rid of at home. They wish they had American accents. They wish they had our culture. They wish they had our identity. We're saying, no, we want to represent like the children of slaves. The people in America are lusting after and longing for freedom. We say we want to embrace the ways of captivity. We're stupid people. Black people are stupid. Africans are stupid.
Oh my God.
That's why we're at the bottom of the cultural, social, economic, human food chain.
My
A house divided against itself cannot stand. We're broken. That's why every other culture can stomp all over us and we have no response. That's the fact of the matter. And so when I say that I wish I wasn't born in England, I wish I had been born and raised in Nigeria and been a real Nigerian, you don't understand this thing. People don't know how deep this thing is. And I think because some people are born and raised in Nigeria, they don't even understand what they have and the value of what they have. That's why they go abroad and they trash it. Or people are trying to trash who they are, even within Nigeria. And that's our problem. We have no sense. We don't even understand the impact, and the long-term impact of us as a people. Because if you want to destroy a nation, destroy its culture, destroy its identity, and then you can mold it to anything you want and oppress it, control it, subjugate it, because we are destroyed.
But then people say, my body, my choice.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Who gave you the body? Did you birth yourself? Did you make yourself? Did you choose when to come into this world? And except suicide, you don't even choose your exit date. So this idea that it's our life, you don't own life. Life was given to you. You're a leaseholder. You don't own shit. Excuse my French. Nobody owns anything. Everything we have, we were leased. It's this stupid notion. You see, let me give you an example. The first time you heard homophobia, who gave it to you? White people. Then black people jumped on the bandwagon. They came with sexism. Black people started jumping on the back. Every term they came with feminism.
Body
All the
shaming.
things that we don't have a word for them in our language. Because you see, the Africa is the dumping ground for everything but our thing. And we buy into it. And so suddenly, what we know to be an abomination in our country, then I say, oh, you're being homophobic, you know. Oh, yeah. Are you mad?
But someone just said here that you can also not argue that you came into this world with clothes. So why should you put on clothes?
Because we don't walk around naked. But even clothing, let me talk about clothing. When I went to Nigeria as a child, well, not really, I was young when I went to Nigeria. And I remember when I went to something from...
Yeah, what's up? I'm listening to Chagu. Chagu, go on.
I remember when I went to a cultural event where they tied the wrapper and they had the top across the breast. That was, when you look at those images, you can understand that image in the light of a cultural context, not the naked women that look like hoes, that you just see them in the light of a sexual context. Do you see what I'm saying? It was cultural, and you didn't look at them and lust after them in a certain way because that was done in a cultural context. But when you go to England, you go to America, you see all these women dressed in a certain way, it's just sexual. There's nothing cultural about it. Jamaicans do carnival every year. Walking around, you see people with grandchildren walking around their grandchildren in their underpants. Would your mothers do that in Nigeria? Did your parents have a bath and then come and stand in front of their gate and put their clothes on? We were a decent people. We had values. We had self-worth and self-respect. What do we have now? Our children look like hoes. Our sons aspire to look like gangsters. And we think we're doing well, and we think this is progress. We're stupid. We're backward. We're trading more for less. We're kings, but we want to behave like peasants. Come on now. There's something wrong with us. The black woman and the black man. The black woman is losing her mind. She thinks all this nonsense that she's doing is freedom. It's not freedom. We are destroying. I watched the video, and it's true what that guy said. Now, I'm not saying that those other cultures are perfect, no. And I'm not saying that there are things that can't be tweaked. But by God, there's something wrong with us black people. Maybe we're not used to freedom. Maybe, you know what we are? We're like a child who, suddenly we've been allowed out of the house. We've gone to university, then we're fucking everybody in the school.
Oh boy.
Our pussy's all over the place like a motorway. Because we have some small freedom. We're not used to it, so we misbehave.
My drink is finished.
We're trying to be everything else but ourselves. We think, you're in the dark ages. Really? But these other cultures, they're staying the same. They're staying strong. They're staying a solid force. But we are disintegrating before the world's very eyes. That's the problem we have.
Uncle Shago.
So I didn't know I was going to talk like this because
Uncle Shago.
Passion.
Uncle Shago.
Sir.
How you doing? You good?
I'm good, sir.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
From everything you've said, like, how do you think we can fix it?
We need to rediscover ourselves. Because let me tell you something. There's another wave of slavery that is coming. And I've been studying this phenomenon for 20 years. And they're breaking down our culture, they're breaking down our behavior, they're breaking down our norms. And once that happens, we're ready for a takeover again. There's another slavery is coming, and we're going to be the worst. Why? Because we don't have a strong culture anymore. We are destroying. It's not even a case of the white man. We are choosing to destroy ourselves. We're choosing destruction. We're choosing this wanton nonsense over what made us strong as a people. I get it, white people came along and all of that, but let me tell you something. One of the worst things that happens in Nigeria in modern times is social media. Because people have lost their goddamn minds. Once upon a time, you behaved and you thought of the impact of your behavior on your family, how it impacted on how your mother and father was perceived by everybody else. Now people just come and stand and do all kinds of foolishness on social media, like as if they're orphans, like they don't come from nowhere, like they don't have no families. No self-respect. And so we are being prepared. If we don't know it now. We are prepared for another colonization. You look at the Northerners, they stay the same. I'm not saying that they're clean people, but there's some things about them that they're not giving up for anything.
MCIB, can you please, sorry, please, MCIB, can you please leave the platform so I can add someone
I
else?
can't. That's why I don't have the option to.
Oh, really? Oh, my God.
Can you remove me? Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Bye.
I can't also remove you. All right, let's just stay here and enjoy you. But you have to show us
We
your
have to
face
look for
then.
a way. 1 second. I'll leave the app and come back. I'll see what happens.
All right, no problem. Okay, can you continue, please, Uncle Shega?
This is why they tried to go to Ghana to establish an LGBTQ. That's not us. If white people want to do all of that foolishness in the Western world, they should confine it there. They shouldn't bring us to our doorstep. Every other kind of miscreant and deviant attitude and behavior, they come and dump it in Africa, just like they dump vaccines in Africa and dump redundant and obsolete medication in Africa. And we think we're making progress. We're backward. Facts. We need to understand the game that's being played. And we need to understand that if we're not careful, and it's not a matter of if we're not careful, we are not being careful. We are going to be overtaken once again. And we're going to be subjugated in our own land. Because we did not hold, the Bible says, hold fast to that which is good. We're throwing everything that is good out of the window to embrace this Western wonderful thing that is bad for us. That's why Cardi B is a role model. Let me tell you something. When I was a child, I lived in Lagos as a teenager. Bobrisky could not have breathed one day in Nigeria. You come out like that, they stone you to death. Let me tell you a true story. My first week in Nigeria, 1972, I was there with my sisters. We went down the road to buy something. First week, somebody from the next house was taking us to buy something on the road. The next thing, a stone landed on my head. And then they started stoning myself and my sisters and the lady who was leading us, people in the neighborhood. We ran back into the house and the lady came out to find out why they stoned us. They said my sister's shorts were too skirts. My skirts were too short. Let me tell you where the skirts were. My sisters were teenagers, yeah? The skirt was just above the knee. They said it was too short. Now you can walk around naked and breathe. Bobrisky can dress like a woman and breathe. In my day, he'd be dead.
Because can you please show us your face?
We knew what we stood for and we didn't embrace all this kind of foolishness. He would never be seen on TV. Now he's a celebrity. We celebrate everything that is decadent. We don't go to, we follow stupid people thieves and miscreants. We follow them on social media. But we don't go to America and say, that dude became an astronaut. Let's find a way to go to the moon. Oh, those people are brain surgeons. Let's find a way. Name any country where black people are stakeholders of any industry. Go to South Africa. Why is it that the Asians are the ones controlling engineering? Because they realized that there was a gap and they started sending their children to school as a matter of policy to study IT, to study technology, to study engineering. Now they are the ones that hold that sector. What sector do black people hold? Balenciaga, consumer of everything, producer of nothing. Both states, we are there. Balenciaga, we are there.
Off your mic.
No. Let me talk true now, because slavery is coming. Mark what I'm saying. We'll be slaves in 20 years. Mark what I'm saying. Slavery is coming. It's been building up. And because we haven't been paying attention, we've just been going with the wave. And these people know how to deceive you. And we're thinking we're making progress. Balenciaga, we did there. Where are astronauts? We no get. Who's making toothpicks in Nigeria? We are no get. Who is buying designer? Now we. Who is buying bone straights? Now we. Who is buying iPhone 11? Now we. Who is buying all this stuff? But we're producing nothing. We're not building a nation of capable producers. We're consuming. And the culture. Everybody in Nigeria is supporting Manchester United. What happened to our local teams? Is Manchester United or the people in Manchester, are they supporting Eyimba? No. We need to close our doors and build and rebuild our nation and rebuild our values and rebuild our people. If you don't have values, you will never be a nation. Facts. Why do you think these LGBT people are fighting? They're building their own nation. Where's our own nation? Where's our own nation? Everybody's trying to, there's a time when black people, white people be racist and they be saying, oh, but I've got a few black friends. Now black people are, Nigerians are not saying, oh yeah, I've got a friend who's LGBT. Let me tell you something. I've got friends who are practicing that nonsense. They know where I stand. I don't spare them. I don't hate them, but you know what my stand on that bullshit, on that nonsense. Where is our own? What do we have? We consume, it's not just the products, we consume cultures. Nigerians are being influenced by Cardi B. Are we mad? But they will not follow Chinua Achebe or Chinua Achebe's children that went to school, that have sense. That didn't forget where they came from because they went abroad. Me, my children, my parents brought me to Nigeria. I learned Yoruba in Nigeria. Some idiot was born in Lagos, a Yoruba-speaking state. He now come to me with American accent and tells me he can't speak vernacular. What kind of madness is that? Do you understand? You look at the Burna Boys and Davidos. Look at them presenting like thugs because they think that they're following this in America. Looking like Tekashi 6ix9ine. Are they mad? Why can't we be us? How do we build a strong continent? How do we build a strong people when we cannot be us? Everybody is themselves except us. Anyway, who wants to say something?
Banana.
Banana,
Banana, what do you want to say? What do you have to say?
Culture is so important, and it's not just about
Do
the
you
women.
think our African
It's also about the
women
men.
are losing the culture? They're losing their identity.
I think Okusheg was really like scatter the table, but the truth is this: a lot of our African women are really losing it. Because we're talking about women, I don't want to sound like double standard, but because we're talking about women, so I'm just going to talk about the women. See, the truth is this: if you,
Hello,
it's that. What's up? If you as a woman, if you as a woman, you have your values. I'm not sure any man can come around and just toss you here and there. And you see. The truth, if you go to Nigeria right now, we are Nigerians, that's why I'm going to be based my discussion on Nigeria. If you go to Nigeria right now, it is a norm in Nigeria society that for you as a young man to be able to get a woman, you need money. And it's also a norm for a girl that if a guy don't have money, if you not get money, face. You understand? So at the end of the day, you see, because of that poverty mentality, so many mothers are pushing their daughters to wrong relationship, abusive relationships, where they now push their children out there as a commodity for them to like fulfill their own selfish interests. A situation whereby your daughter goes out and come back with 5 million naira, you as a mother, you can't even ask your daughter where you foresee money. Your daughter is going out there. She tells you, "Mommy, I'm coming 8 o'clock," and she comes at about 2 a.m. You understand? You can't even ask her, because when you ask her, you know she's got money in her wallet. A good example is this comment section. Uncle Shegun is talking just now. So many unguided. I don't want to insult anybody, but you need to read the comment. What people are saying. People are saying, "I beg, don't do. We are tired of English." You see people's stupid mentality. But if it's giveaway, you will have almost about 200 or 300 people here right now. But when you are talking about things that is reasonable, see, we are a generation of misplaced priority. You understand?
Yeah.
We don't know what is right for us to do. We are just going with the trend. Today not this, let's do it. Tomorrow not this, let's do it. The truth is hard. The truth is hard, but we don't want to listen to it. A girl will tell you, come, Me, I don't want to live that kind of life my mama live. Oh. I don't come this life come suffer. You understand? I don't come this life come suffer. But you forget that your mother was able to live the life she went through because of her self-values. You understand? So many girls will come to the same man. I want the best man. I want even you yourself. You don't even check yourself. When they ask you what kind of guy do you want, I want the man who's got this, the man who got that, and by the time they ask you what can you bring to the table, you tell her your boobs and your table, your boobs and your pussy. Is that enough? It's the truth. What can you bring to the table? I saw a post last time of a woman that was standing outside. She said, my husband threw me out. Please, can a lawyer fight for me? A woman that knows herself, you are grinding your own. Trust me, no man can throw you outside. By the time you make yourself a liability, when you want to buy mangi, you call your husband. You want to buy your own tampon, you call your husband. Trust me. We are losing it because we don't know what is right. You as a girl, you can't even spell your father's name, but you are wearing Bow Street. If you are wearing Bow Street and what about 300K, but write your father's name down, you're not going to that camp. I'm telling you the truth. You are living in your parents' house, uncompleted building. They gave you one room there, and you have like 6 Bone Street hanging on the wall. One Bone Street, they go almost about 300K. Society of misplaced priority. 2 of your Bone Streets can plaster the house. We are missing it. Our society, we are missing it. Until we start to find ourselves again and know where we are coming from, we'll never get it right. We'll never get it right, too.
We will never get it right.
We are Bone Street. This is not for only Bone Street, too. Even our girls, the kind of choices we make. A girl will tell you, I'd rather go and be a side chick to a rich man so that me and my family don't suffer. But you forget your self-value, your mental health. You understand? The peace you will have in your life. And imagine this same man doing everything to you now. When he comes and bring another woman to your house, then what are you going to talk about? My boyfriend is cheating, or my husband is cheating on me. He will definitely cheat on you because you don't bring anything to the table. You understand? So people will always think and say what they want to say. But the truth is this. A lot of our African women, trust me, no joke, we are really, really losing our identity before it's too late. Before it's too late. That's why it's a lot to tell you. Why is it that especially with black men go abroad and you guys are going after white women? Let's be honest, most times it's not always about the papers. To be honest, it's not always about the papers. Even especially, I'm going to use Europe as a case study. Research has shown that our African women take their African husbands more to the court. Women, if you offend your African woman right now, your African woman is ready to take you to the court than even the Oyibo you see he gets. You understand? So we need to be very, very careful. In short, let statistics talk so that I not talk too much.
The statistics tell us. What do you have to say?
Actually, you know what? There are there are some points that I wanted to make, but I think Uncle Shek will be able to kind of dive into those. So when we're talking about the mindset, the mentality, and you're talking about slavery, and talking about culture, I think to your point, yes, we still have culture to an extent, but a lot, somewhere down the line, it's like we're drifting away from the things that used to make sense. We're drifting away from, and what we're now doing is consuming other cultures, right? And we're letting go of our culture and our morality and so many other things. And I don't, to an extent, I don't want to blame our generation. And the reason why I say that is because there are people that, when you look at the LGBTQ community, there are people that kind of stood their ground and they started fighting for LGBTQ in America and everywhere else in the world. And over time, other people took it from them, and then they took it from them, and then up until they actually saw the rights that they were seeking. They were, you know, now who is that? Who is playing that role, that guardian role of our culture, of what we used to? You talked about 1978. If you walk around in the streets with bomb shots, they will stone you to death. You know, you talk about these things, right? One, I would say that there's not been one group of people or anybody standing guard or playing that guardian role against some of these things that we're now seeing today. Hence the reason why people will say NBG, Nobel Gang, I'm a Malian, and this and that. So I don't know if you want to speak to that effect very quickly.
Who, me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right that, you know, for some reason we don't have custodians of culture. And I think what's happened is with the influx of money in Nigeria, that went out of the window. So we respected money, but we didn't respect people that had wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Because most times the custodians of our culture were not rich people. And making the bag or getting the bag superseded everything else. And I think that's where things went wrong. I mean, I remember a time in Nigeria where if you had money, if you were a rich man and you had no education, people didn't really mess with you. You were rich and uneducated. So, do you see what I mean? And there was a time when if you had money that was questionable, a lot of people won't interact with you. I mean, I'm talking about parents. But now we glorify people who have money with no source of income.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So it got to the point where money became king.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. And so with money becoming king, the wisdom went out of the window. People didn't care. They cared about the bag. And in fact, you only had wisdom if you had money. So if you had money and you spoke foolishness, people bought into it because you have money.
Exactly.
That's why there are a lot of foolish community leaders on social media who will wind up in prison or dead one day. But a lot of people will follow them.
A lot of motivational speakers.
So do you
because
think
there's
our
money.
government also play a role or lack of governance? Because when you look at America, for example, the only reason why you'd agree with me that even the LGBTQ community, they had to fight. They had to fight against discrimination. And such discrimination were coming from people based on their morality as well as their culture, their religion. So, for example, I'm a Christian, and two men getting married doesn't make any sense to me. So, for that reason, I will not. Well, I refuse to recognize you as married, right? So that was some of the racism that folks were. I said racism, sexism, that folks were, or discrimination that folks were getting used to. Well, not getting used to, fighting against. So does our government or lack of play a role in some of these things that you've rightfully pointed out? Our parents, do they have a part to play? And what is the role of our superstars, so to speak?
Okay, so let me speak about governance. I think one of the things we have to understand right now is that Nigeria is not a country. Nigeria is a crime scene.
Yeah.
And at the head of affairs are miscreants and criminals. That definitely has an impact and has had an impact. Why? Because in the 70s, in Shagari's time, when easy money, came into the economy via the north, and northerners flooded Lagos and were throwing money all over the place, the whole notion of working hard for your money began to go out of the window. Because if these people who are rulers are earning money and being rich without working hard, why do I have to go work hard?
Exactly.
Then we had the systematic decimation of schools and the health center, and the health sector and every other sector, and then the systematic impoverishment of parents. Because when I was a young person, I don't know any person who had to sleep with somebody to go to school. Parents could afford their children.
Exactly.
Parents bought houses, married a wife, built houses, bought land, and all of those things, and sent their children to school.
Yes.
Gave them pocket money and all of that sort of stuff. Bought them clothes. And if you were one of the rich ones, you went to England every summer on holiday.
Yeah.
But with the systematic erosion of all those things, we have come to where we are now.
Yeah.
There's something else you said. There are two other things. You said something about the role of superstars, but there's something else you said in between that I want to address that I can't remember.
Which is the parents. I talked about the governance
So
as well.
yes. So the parents, this is the other thing. It's not to say that there was no poverty in my day.
Yeah.
But parents had dignity.
Dignity, self-value. Yeah.
They didn't go around begging people for money. And they didn't go around prostituting themselves for money in the main. If they didn't have, they were satisfied with what they'd had, and while they were trying to get something else going.
Yes.
But I have to qualify that by saying they could still afford basic, could still go to school, to go to. I talk to a lot of young people whose parents are my age and don't have jobs. So therefore, their children have to become house helps or sex workers or hoes just to make the money, to pay for their parents to have a roof over their heads. So our government is responsible for the decimation of Nigeria. And we don't have a government. It's a crime scene with criminals in the hot seats.
I think
in the seats of power.
I think you took it to exactly where I was driving my point with the questions. That I think one of where we've missed is because you have to be able to do a root cause analysis of how we got to the position we're in today. And where we missed it is by voting all these miscreants and these hoodlums and criminals into power, which there's a trickle down effect of what they do and how it impacts the home. Because imagine if you're 18, your dad is 52, your mom is 48. They both don't work.
Yeah.
So which means you have to get out
and go
hustle.
Yeah.
Back in the days, not too long time ago. And when I say back in the days, I don't want people to think I'm that old. No, I'm not. I'm very young. I remember growing up in the late 80s, early 90s. And if you go out and you bring something that is not yours, your parent will tell you, take it back. It ain't yours.
Yeah.
Right? And matter of fact, they won't just tell you. They will whoop that ass and then take you back to go give it back and then whoop that ass again. And then when you get back, they whoop that ass again. And that used to be, that was what we knew growing up. But when you set people up in an environment to fail, where you don't have opportunities for them to be able to at least earn a living, whereby if their child were to bring something to eat home, rather than question the source, they're grateful for the food.
Yeah.
So to an extent, it's a shared blame across the board. It should be shared. And for me, it's really about what are the next steps? Where do we go from here, right? And you said something that I remember. You said something earlier, and my question was, I think you said we need to. I forgot exactly what you said. Oh my God. And my question was, how do we do that reorientation of some sort?
Yes.
right? How do we do that? And to your point, in the next 20 years, we're already slaves. We are. The black man, especially Africans, we're slaves. We're enslaved. And this is not physical slavery. This is
Yeah,
mind slavery.
mental. Yeah, mental.
Like mentally, you know,
Yeah.
one of the things you said earlier was that, you know, we're consumer of everything but producer of nothing,
None. Yeah.
right? And believe me, it's so true, because everyone want to show off that
Want to
they
look
got
good.
it,
Yeah.
want to look good, even if it means buying it on credit.
On credit and pay after
You know?
20 years.
So the my question now is, how do we start this conversation, and how do we make this a reality? The change that we want to see. How?
I think that's already started. If there's one thing that the NSAS protest demonstrated, was good governance, good organization,
Right.
and accountability. That thing was organized properly, from them raising money, from them feeding people, from the cleanup, everything. I think the day is gone when we can wait for a political savior. I think rather than wait for things to change from the top down, we at the bottom need to change the narrative and show the top what it is. And this is where we need to have platforms like this, community groups, where we educate one another, not argue and debate, but educate one another, so that we can begin to understand what's really happening to us. A few years ago, a guy by the name of Dr. Umar Johnson, an American professor, psychology professor, went to Nigeria, and he was trying to educate them on the illusion of inclusion. And they didn't understand what he was saying. What is the illusion of inclusion? The illusion of inclusion has to do with elections, where the persons who are going to be in power is already decided. But they put them out there and make you participate in this thing called an election to give you the idea that you're included in what's going on. So the whole thing of government by the people, for the people, by the people, for the people, because of the people, under the people, by the people, is a scam.
It's BS.
Because government was instituted by the powerful, not by the peasants.
Exactly.
And so we participate in this thing, but it's an illusion. Let me give you an example. Everybody will tell you that, you know, black people voted Obama in. No, that's an illusion. Because if you watch the whole leading up to the election, Obama's the only president I've known in living memory, in the time I've been alive, who engaged on a world presidential tour without being elected into office. He was selected to win. He had already won. All that stuff that we were doing and all of that was just the illusion of inclusion. He went around the world and was speaking about the New World Order. He wasn't even a president in the waiting. They hadn't even gone to vote. Yet he went on a presidential tour. When did that ever happen in your lifetime, and with whom? So all of these things are set up to be that way, and we think we're being involved in the process. It's an illusion. So we have to start understanding not just what's happening, but where it's leading. Why is it happening, and where is it leading? Is this happening by accident, or is this happening by design?
We're still on the topic.
We're still on the topic, but we've got to go to the roots. You see, the problem is we like to deal with the branches and not go to the roots. And we have to deal this thing through the roots. Yeah. So it starts when we understand that there's something wrong with our thinking and something wrong with our approach.
And the choices we make too.
We need to have what I call cultural camps, where we agree on what is our culture. What is our culture in relation to education? What is our culture in relation to friendships? What is our culture in relation to business? What is our culture in relation to marriage? And begin to build information bases, you know, whereby people can learn and then begin to go through some sort of transformation process. And it's not good. We can no longer wait for governments. We can no longer wait. We have to become the community leaders that we're looking for.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? So when I go on to, is it Toyosi? Is your name Toyosi, sir?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
When I go on to Toyosi's live, I've got to take something away from his life that strengthens me as an African or as a Nigerian,
Yes.
because he's representing the culture correctly.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
On YouTube, there's a thing I watch. It's called I-95 Bars. Yeah, home of the heavy spitters. Now I write rhymes and I spit. I can rap. I spit. The reason why they call it and the slogan is "Bring your pen game and not your name." And anytime they have somebody up there, they always say, "We brought you on here because we realize that you represent the culture correctly." And we have to start representing our culture correctly when we talk, the way we dress, the way we move, the way we deal with people. When we come on live, we need to start representing our culture correctly. And when we become the example that people ought to follow, that we want people to follow, people will follow. So when I come on Sweet Banana Cake's live, he's representing us correctly. When I go on Toyosi's live, he's representing us correctly. And that we're going to have to build from the bottom up. We can't wait for politicians. We can't wait for political savior. We can't wait for a movement. We are the movement. We always say we move. Well, let's move.
Wow.
We need to switch up our feet. We need to change the narrative. Let me tell you something, real talk. I've only been coming on this thing for like 2 months or 3 months. But because I come on lives, I hold myself to a higher standard of living and behavior, publicly and privately.
Yes.
We are men, and we are responsible for shaping the reality of our nation. I'm not saying women don't have a place, but if women were better leaders, we would have better followers. If we men were men, as we ought to be men, maybe our nations won't be in the state that it is in now. So we're going to have to work from the bottom up. Because one day, we bottom people at the bottom are the ones who are going to rise to the top. It frightens me when I listen to some people on social media that these are going to be the elders of tomorrow. God help the youth of their time. Because they're going to be the most stupid elders a generation can ever have, if we don't change our narrative and switch up the way we do things. And people like Sweet Banana Cake, I hold you accountable. Toyosi, I hold you accountable because people listen to you. You are a community leader, whether you know it or not. You come onto social media, people are going to listen to you. So we have a responsibility to represent the culture correctly, irrespective of the fact that we're in England or America. Yeah. We have to point people in the right direction of home. We are the sat-nav that people need to see. I'm serious. We can have symposiums and have discussions, but we need to come correct for other people to have something to follow.
Can you take me off? Let this Steve Papa come in.
You can only take yourself off, like you can go, but I can't. Yeah, you have to leave.
No, you can. See, go on top, click on top where the names are, and you see remove. You remove the person.
Oh, okay.
Click on top, and the person you want to remove just.
SBC, are you running away because I gave you responsibility?
I'm going on my life now. You know I'm going on my life now.
Oh, right. Okay.
We're doing the 4-way. It was massive yesterday. So we're going to start. Hey,
Roman, nice. I hear you.
I'll see you guys later.
All right. Roman, I see Roman's comment, and it's correct. So we are the new elders, and we need to represent correctly. We can no longer wait for some people. We are the ones. We identify the problem. We need to be the solution, including myself.
I like how you said that without without calling anyone out. So what you said is, when people come to your life, it's something they learn and this and that. To be honest with you, I'm an advocate for you constantly have to find ways to help people, whether educate them or financially and otherwise. However, one of the things I always tell people is, it really, look, I don't want to, as much as I want to be a good example, just know that I'm human. And part of me
Yeah.
being human means that I will let you down. As long as you know that, you know, you're welcome to follow me and even go as far as saying, I want you to mentor me. Um, but it begs, it's a lot of responsibility. It really is. And I'm very, I'm just speaking my truth. It's a lot of responsibility because then um, you want to post something or you want to say something, but then you have to think about, you know, the 8,000 people following you. And when they watch it, when they see it, right? There was a night one guy came on my live video and said, you know, were the reasons why people are constantly begging on social media when we will be spending money on rubbish. And what it was speaking to was it was saying that we're spending money on rubbish because we were given, you know, people that were twerking money. Uh and anybody that
High
knows me,
consequence greetings.
a consequence. What's up, brother? Anyone that knows me know that I don't allow anybody to come on my live video to twerk. Nope. Why? Because it's not something that I want on my page. No, don't do that. Right? So when he said it in a way that was very uh it
Welcome,
was
T
more of
Papa.
attacking,
Yeah.
you know. And I said, well, I want you to come on live and come and give me the instance. Come tell me or show me proof. Because I know myself, you know. So things like that really just one, it takes me off. That's one. Two, um, but I can't blame the people that decide to use their platform for certain contents because of their own personal reasons and agenda. So I'll give you an example. If I'm constantly posting about sex and sex talk, because I'm a sex therapist and I'm profiting as a sex therapist, and now I have organizations that want to sell their products through my page and or sign me as an ambassador. So which means I constantly have to sell sex.
Sex, yeah.
Right? So I want to say that it now falls on whoever is following.
Okay.
It now falls on whoever is following to decide if they want to continue to follow such page or not. And that's you know, I'll stop there.
Okay, T Papas, what do you have to say?
Yes, because I've been asking a lot of questions, and it's an educative session right here. And for me, it has to do with the mindset. That's the first thing I have to say. And following everything that everybody has said, Don Zubby, Uncle Shegun, and every other person on this live, we've been talking some of the question that has to deal with, which was pinned here, has to deal with the culture. Yes, fine. But my question is, how do people understand culture when the mindset hasn't changed? So the problem with Nigerians presently has to deal with how they think. Most people they've not escaped the box that Nigeria has put them in. You're privileged to travel outside. Yes. Every other person on this life has been privileged to travel outside and see how things work outside. So I really don't blame people within the box because the box is larger than how we think, what our parents has raised us to be. Our parents raised us up that life is hard. You have to struggle for things before you can get things. Yes, before you can have a good life, you have to go through education. Education is important, yes. That gives you the bridge to understand life itself. So I used to remember when I was very young, my father used to say something, "It's late," and he always said something. I said, bridge, bridge. I didn't understand what that meant. not until after he died. Then I understood that he was the bridge that linked me to life, that made me understand how life is. And it was not left to me to, factor my way out on how to live life. So Nigeria as it is, I've made friends, I've been with friends. I just returned from Nigeria on Sunday, and I'm in quarantine presently. And I've been so bored. I don't go on live on Instagram. This is my first time on live. I was talking to one of there's someone here, MCIB, and today I went on live, and she said, "You don't come on live." I leave my life private. I don't want to come on live, but the whole conversation here has been very educating, and but we are not. Most of us are not actually pushing on what the answer is. What is the answer for people that have not actually gone out of Nigeria to see how life is? It's easy to see from other people's lenses when you can actually see from your own lens. From your own lens, you can see life better if your own lens is not as far as where other people see it. But from Uncle Shegun must have traveled very well. He has a good command of English. For me, I don't consider myself having a good command of English. But for some other people that don't understand, people might come on live and people might not have what to say. They just want to, because they want to trend. But how do we educate these people? And today, when I had a conversation with someone, I told the person, I said, how do you break down things in a layman's language?
So about to get hot in here. Yeah, I'm listening to you, sir.
Yes. How do you break down things to a layman's language for people to understand? If you try to teach people, teach them in a way that a baby would understand. That is when you are actually passing the right information to people. Yes. I tell people that the next man on this live might not understand the information I want to pass based on his understanding. But how do I get him to understand, to take him on that lane? Okay, now I have a brother, and he's my older brother, and I've been telling him a lot of things every time. And I'm telling you that you don't have to behave this way. You don't have to do this way. You don't have to, I've said it many times in many years. Now, I got to the point that, okay, I need to stop talking. I need to show this person. I need to take him on a walk for him to see how life is. So let's understand that it's beyond we just having to make conversations. It's beyond having to talk. People will listen, yes. But how do they factor what has already been heard? And how do they, make use of what has been heard? Some people need to be walked through that phase. So let's understand where the strengths and the weaknesses of other people lies. A lot of Nigerians, we can't take everybody. If your feet is not strong, I can't carry you. Trust me. My feet has to be strong and rooted before I can carry the next man. And that is what I tell people. If my feet is not rooted, there is no way I can carry you. I'm sorry. That is life. I believe in being practical with things rather than just being theoretical with it. Yes, we can talk. Everybody has a good talk. Reno Omkri, the former advisor to Jonathan, has a lot to talk about. Yes, everybody has a lot to talk about. But how do we change the lives of people? The one next to you, and the one next to you. How do we change their lives? Because that is the way they can also change other people's lives next to them. So that is it. I don't want to stay long on this live so that other people can join and also say what they want to say. So
one of the first things we can do is we can lend romance muscles.
I came here.
I'm looking at the comment section and they say Roman can carry us.
I'm here to pretend like a responsible person. Don't fuck my shit out.
Oh, the responsible, I like. Not like camouflage. Okay, so this is it. Obviously, this is a topic and we're just talking about it because it's a topic. But if we then wanted to move beyond a topic, you would then find that people who are of like mind on a platform such as this would probably get together privately and say, actually, I'm concerned about this, or we're concerned about this, and then we'll have conversations, and then we have to have a conversation of what we believe defines culture and agree and say, okay, well, how do we hold this forward? How do we put this out there? And it starts with little things like, if I have a session, on my live, am I representing us correctly? We're going to hold ourselves to a certain standard of behavior, or we're only going to push certain type of content and that sort of thing, or we're going to have a lot of live sessions where we talk about this, because talking has its place. Because you'd be amazed at what people, we're having this conversation and we're being theoretical, but you will also find that there are people who are going to go away and start thinking, maybe start doing some reading, maybe start asking questions from other people. So there's not one singular approach, but it doesn't mean that it cannot be done. But let me hand over to Brother Roman to get into this. And
you have to say.
Don't be shy, Roman. We know you.
Guys, all right. So, when you say that, do I think that African women have lost their cultural identity? My first question will be, why are we assuming this, or what are the trends that we have seen that is making us assume this? And is it also possible that why we are assuming this is because these women have found some kind of liberation from the kind of traumas and difficulties that culture have put them in? So for the longest time in the world, we have always, and when I say we now, men have always decided what women do. And anytime that women kind of get some kind of understanding or enlightenment that makes them deviate from that, they start to say that the women are derailing, or the women are this and the women are that. So the first question that I would like to know is that, what are the things that we consider as women losing their cultural identity? I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So if you tell me that, is it the fact that they can speak up now and speak, to their husbands? Because I hear a lot of stories about, for instance, this is a very typical one. Like a man sent, comes to the US or the UK, brings a woman from home to the place, and then the woman chases him out of the house. Now, that is the story. That is a very, very popular story that I always hear. And then everybody is hitting the woman and saying, she's this, she's that. They brought her from somewhere, and now she wants to chase the guy and all of that. But a lot of things that you don't understand is, this woman has been enduring a lot of beatings, a lot of issues that she has never had any opportunity to talk about as a result of the cultural constraints that have been imposed on her. And after a while, it gets to a stage where she's like, you know what, I cannot take this anymore. And then she reports to the authorities so that they can have her back. And all of a sudden, boom, everybody starts saying that, African women have. So what are the stipulations of what we are going to consider as losing, or a woman losing her cultural identity? Are we saying that because she can now speak up, or because she can go to work, or because she can say, dude, you to stay at home, let me go and hustle? Are we saying that because she can talk back at her husband and say, you know what, I'm not doing this stupid shit? What are the parameters, and what are the yardsticks for us to be able to determine that a woman is losing her African cultural identity? Because a lot of times, I'm sorry, this thing goes pari passu, it goes hand in hand with a woman finding liberation. And when I say liberation, I'm talking about culture, I'm talking about psychological liberation, religious liberation, and also social liberation. The moment, I think with us, with our African culture, we always feel like when we put somebody in a bracket, especially women, and they're able to deviate from that, instead of us to look at what is really on ground as the reason why she has done that, everybody starts looking at it from an angle of she has lost her culture. She has got travel abroad and now she thinks she knows everything and stuff like that. But inevitably, isn't that the meaning of some kind of enlightenment? The moment you know better, you will do better. A lot of women are there and they don't know that they can exist in an environment where they can ask for sex from their husband. They don't know that they can exist in an environment where they can go and work and bring in money. They don't know that they can exist in an environment where they can speak back at somebody who is always abusing them. They don't know that they can also go and report to the police that somebody is doing something wrong to them. So all of a sudden you put them in that situation and they find liberation. And everybody starts talking about, oh, she has lost her African heritage, or she's this and she's that. So, like I said again, sorry, what's your name, the host?
Oh, Melody.
And also, Melody, I'm asking Shegun as well and the new brother on ground.
Okay.
What are the parameters that we are using what are we using as a benchmark to assume that they are losing their cultural heritage? Then maybe when we have that, I can now have something to say about it, because this is very wide. And I know for a fact, with my experience, my little experience, I'm only 30 years old, but I roll with people like Shegun, so my brain is like here. One thing that I know is our culture is always, our African culture, for the most part, especially when it has to do with gender, men or women, has a lot to do with a lot of segregation and a lot of prejudice against women naturally. So what are those things? Are we ready to separate the prejudice from the actual culture? Are we talking about a woman kneeling down for her husband? Or what exactly are we using as a benchmark to say they are losing that as a culture?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Thank you very much. I think that you have really spoken well, and I think you made a lot of sense. But first of all, let's look at it from this perspective. What is the meaning of culture? We all, as we know, culture is the way of life. You see, that's the right meaning. Culture is the way of life. Culture is the way we do things. And we understand that we come from Africa. Most of us come from the western part of Africa. So if you look at it, I think it is only the southern part of Africa that I think their ways of living becomes a little different from the east side and the north side and the west side. But most especially, what I have learned, I mean, when you talk about the African culture, it's actually basically started from Western Africa. We have the original culture. You understand? Now, let me break it. Culture is a way of life. Now, I wouldn't say that woman has gone like wayward or out of culture, because this is 21st century. Initially, in the year 18th century, I think there wasn't a phone, or there wasn't like something like an iPhone. But as the day goes by, as the years keep counting, a lot of things are changing. So basically, women in particular, they don't need to travel before maybe somebody might look at them from their own perspective and think that they have lost their way of culture. But the thing is, if the world moves, as the world moves, the same way, but when it gets to the time that a woman has to find a woman, has to find a husband, when it gets to the point that a woman knows that this is the period of this period, I think that I need a husband, I need my own family. The moment that begins to sound in her mind, whoever man that comes in her life, they now decide whatever life she's living, whether she's dressing or whatever it is, she now begins to think back and go back to the culture where she came from. They now have to go. I'm talking about in terms of settling down, marriage aspect of culture. I'll come to the other aspect. So they will now go down to practice the main culture where they came from. Whether being married to a white man or married to whoever it is, they need to practice that culture, which is very, very important. So women do not lose they do not lose their culture identity at all in any way. I don't see any African woman losing their African culture or African identity in any way. Now, if a woman dresses nice, most especially, we think that women living in abroad are dressing in some kind of way that they think that if they were in Africa, they wouldn't dress like that. Fine. In most part of Africa, That's what people will think. But let's look at it. Even in Africa, we have villages, and we also have cities. When you go to the city, you dress in a way that the city people dress, which is automatically the same as you are living in abroad. But those that live in the villages, they dress accordingly, basically because they are living in the villages. You understand? So even in terms of the dressing aspect, they haven't lost their culture because they move as the world moves. We all do things as in we are in 21st century, so whatever happens is what we follow. But in the main actual culture, no woman, no African woman has ever lost it. They have conscience. African women have conscience. They haven't forgotten that. And any woman that does not know how to talk to a man, basically, there is no family, there is no parent out there who is an African parent that will automatically bring forth his or her child in a wrong way. They always bring their child in a better way, but when they are growing, they begin to find answers, they begin to meet people, they begin to make friends. You understand? So sometimes what I even know about women, most especially women, when a woman gets to their adolescent age, from 16, 17 up to that age of 23, 24, there is nothing, no advice can enter into their brain because they now feel that adolescent system in their body.
Bro, sorry to interrupt. First
Okay,
off,
I'm listening. Yes,
I'm
I'm
not
listening
sure
to you.
that I necessarily understand the point that you're trying to make in relation to the topic. And secondly, you are making a lot of hasty generalizations. You're making a lot of assumptions. And we might not be able to come to any kind of conclusion or reasoning if we are all making assumptions. So you can only speak to things from your own perspective or from your own angle or how you perceive that thing. So if you say things like when women reach a certain age, nothing enters into their head anymore. Now I want to start raising my eyebrow like, how many women do you know? Do you know all the women in Africa? So what I'm saying is let us refrain from trying to assume that we know a lot of people by just dissecting one or two people around us and stuff like that. And secondly, it would be a lot more productive. And Shegun, I want you to back me up on this. It will be a lot more productive and very objective if we can look at this not from necessarily a angle of relationship or marriage and stuff like that, because that concept has been overflogged and we will not get anywhere. So if it's possible that we look at it as culture, as the way of life, and when I say the way of life, marriage is just one aspect of life for us Africans, right? So if we can look at it from a broader sense and not necessarily from the angle of marriage, women doing this, men doing that and stuff like that, it might be easier for us to, reach some kind of reasonable
Yes, my
learning
friend, I will
about it.
contradict you. I'll contradict you on that because if you do not really want us to look at it from that perspective, I'm not only like before I started speaking, I said that we are not only looking at it from that perspective because it entails a lot. I mean, culture and the way of life entails many things. So I was only speaking about some part of it because I didn't end what I was saying, but you cut me off and you said you wanted to come in or something, so I had to listen to you. But in other words, if you are saying that we shouldn't look at it from that perspective, what are the other things that we need to look at it so that we can all get the phrase you are talking about? Because I'm learning
I
as
did
well.
not, no, I did not say that we should not. I'm saying one of the things that I mentioned, and you just picked up on that, is I'm saying that let us not make hasty generalizations. That is one. Let us not say, oh, women are this or women are that. That's what I mean by hasty generalization. You made a couple of statements where you were mentioning that when women get to an adolescent age, there's nothing you can tell them that goes into their head. That is an hasty generalization. Maybe you know one woman that is like that. It doesn't mean everybody's like that. That is number one. Then secondly, bro, you're fucking loose culture by calling them old men like Shegun. I think he's your dad. If you think that Shegun is your dad, Shegun is not my dad. Shegun is my friend. So, and as far as that goes, Shegun is right here and Shegun is not complaining about me calling him Shegun. My relationship with Shegun goes beyond us being on a live show. on Instagram. So I would advise that you refrain from throwing insults my way and assuming that I am rude or whatever, because even if I am, it has nothing to do with you. If Shegun wants to say something about that, Shegun is right here. You are not Shegun's mouthpiece. That being said, and back to what I'm talking about, what I'm trying to say is that we should stop this thing of assuming that we know everybody just from a limited information that we have, maybe from our own personal experiences. Let's not bring our personal experiences into it. The only way people can learn from this topic is if we take it from a generalized angle and everybody pitches it from different, a certain angle. Because this topic is, I know that a lot of people are going to come here and it will always go around relationship, men marrying women and stuff like that. African women are a lot more than that. For me, at least. I don't know the kind of African women that other people are into, but a lot of African women that I know, I learn things from them on a daily basis, and they are bigger than this concept of maybe they're married to a man or they're attached to something or someone like that. So that's just what I'm saying, sir.
Okay, let me just come in here. I think I understand. What's the name of the third man? I think I understand what he's trying to say. I think one thing I read from what you were trying to say is when you talked about people not being able to lose their culture, I think what he's trying to say is that nobody in reality loses their culture to the point where they don't know it anymore. I think you can adopt a culture or you can adopt other cultures, in addition to what you have already, or you can put your culture aside and embrace something else, but you still know your culture. I think that's what he's trying to say there. And I think also that he's speaking to the topic because it speaks of the African woman. And most times when you hear of this thing of African women losing their culture, it mostly tends to involve married women. Now, I want to say something about culture. One of the things we've got to be mindful not to do is not to assume that our culture is oppressive and women are trying to escape from some oppression, because the culture was there to protect everyone, men, women, and child alike. Culture may be abused at some point, but the fact that we have culture in the first instance doesn't mean that it was oppressive. And so our starting point for understanding culture should not be oppression. A very good example is in England when they introduced the welfare state. When they introduced the welfare state, where if you're poor or whatever, you can get benefits, it was to help those who were poor. At some point, it got into a place where people who were just lazy could sit on benefits for years and never work. But the starting premise of the benefits was to protect the dignity of people who had no money and to provide for people who were poor, who had lost their jobs. So we just have to be a little bit mindful for how we express certain things. Now, I want to just talk on this topic about my name, yeah? In our culture where we come from, and I think Savage, well, I don't know about this young man, the other young man here, but Savage and I are Yoruba people. I am 56. My last child is 31. By virtue of our culture, a person who is young enough to be my child should not call me by name. By virtue of our culture.
Right.
In the same token that I wouldn't call somebody by their name who has children my age, by virtue of our culture. So when we now step outside of that, that's not our culture. So in our culture, how we address people is fixed. It's not transient.
Yes.
How the white people address themselves, oh sir, ma'am, or whatever, that's fixed for them. Yes. So if they come to Nigeria and or a white man starts prostrating, where in their culture they shake hands, they're coming outside of their culture. So there's some elements of our culture that is fixed and not transient. So if we prostrate and kneel down in our culture, that's what we do to greet our elders, but it doesn't mean that we're inferior to them, and it doesn't mean that they're trying to suppress us.
Yes.
So we need to be mindful not to think that, because we have culture, people are trying to escape oppression. Yes. I also want to speak to the issue of marriages, particularly in America.
No, Shegun, hold on. Shagun, hold on, because you just threw a jab right now, and I
No,
want
no, I'm
you
not.
to
Hold on. No, I'm not throwing a jab. But hold on. Let me finish this point
no,
here. I'm
no, no,
just.
Shagun, you cannot have that
Hold on, hold
conversation. No,
on.
no, Shagun, you
We'll
cannot
come
have
to
that
that. But let me
conversation.
just. I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose my train.
Please, you
I
have
want
to
to.
come back to it. I want you to
We'll
come
come.
back to it.
We'll come back
I
to
want
it.
you to come back to it.
Now,
Yeah.
on the issue to do with marriages in America, one of the things I have found over time is that it's not that the woman is finding greater freedom from oppression and abuse. What's mostly happening is that men who have been living in America for a long time, who want women who are culturally grounded in terms of their African culture or the Nigerian culture, bring these women or go and marry these women and bring them to America. The problem is, while they think they're marrying wives, those women are using them as a means of escape from Nigeria and a passport to a better life.
Good.
So until that better life comes into fruition, they behave themselves, and after which they start misbehaving because now their legs are strong. I've got my papers, I've got my nursing degree, and suddenly these people start misbehaving. And then, of course, the man fights back, and then the woman says, I'm oppressed, he's trying to oppress me. So we have to examine the genesis of a lot of those relationships before we determine that they're being oppressed. Now, I have counseled people in marriage and relationships for about 30 years now, and sometimes you will find that the victim or the person who presents as a victim is actually not the victim, and that the person who is presented as the villain is the actual victim. So we just need to understand that as well, that not everybody is trying to escape something, but maybe but sometimes we have to look at the genesis of what they're trying to escape and see who the true victim is. Whether we like it or not, we have a culture. There's a way in which we do things where we come from. And I don't believe that we have to, just because we go somewhere, we then have to throw it all away or not identify with it.
Yes, Uncle Segun,
And that's,
sir, with all due respect, please, sorry
yes,
for
sir.
cutting you short. You see, let me make, I'm a Ghanaian, actually.
Okay.
And for where I come from in Ghana, I grew up in the city. That's where I was born, actually. And
please,
basically,
sorry,
our
no
culture,
insults in the comment section. Please, no insults. We're not into insult one another or to be rude.
basically, our culture is very strong. We don't joke with
Right.
our culture. In Ghana, man, it is even in our constitution that a man has no right to touch a woman. And because
Right.
of that, it is also in our constitution for a woman never to raise the mouth or to talk to a man rudely or to insult a man, because the only way a man can lay a hand on a woman is by a woman feel like I'm the boss or feel like throw an insult. So in Ghana, you can, if you by mistake touch a woman and she gets a little scratch and takes it to the police, trust me, it's 3 years straight. So this is Ghana. When I came to Russia, when I met, I'm engaged now. I'm engaged. I'm engaged to a Nigerian woman. And when we started living together, when she cooks for me and she's bringing me the food, sometimes I'll be inside the room. She'll ask me, "Baby, I want to give you food. Will you eat it in the kitchen or in the room?" She'll go by. I'm like, okay, bring it in the room. When she comes, she'll go down, give me the food, put water and everything. And when I'm done eating, when she wanna come take clear the table, she will tell me thank you. And I'm like, why are you telling me thank you? You cook for me. I'm the one supposed to say thank you after eating your food. So why are you still telling me this? What came out of her mouth is, this is our culture. This is how I was brought up. And it's one of the nicest things, but Ghanaian women don't do that. I mean, I feel like even in Ghana, why will my mom even cook for me? And then after that, I'll say, Mommy, thank you, because I feel it's a responsibility to cook for me because she's the one who gave birth to me. But in Nigeria, after the mom cooking, they will still thank their mama and their mom will still thank. Like, so it's a beautiful culture. Like when I blend the both, it becomes so beautiful. You understand? So bros,
Please,
Roman,
can I speak
please.
now?
Yeah, please, with all due respect, Sometimes you don't need to listen to the comment. Don't
No,
even look at the comment section and forget about what people are saying.
I don't.
Honestly speaking, when
I don't have.
you started speaking, I picked some words from the things you said, and then what I was saying, I wasn't trying to go off, but I was just speaking based on the topic. Because whenever we talk about, I mean, white man don't live a cultural lifestyle. It is only Africans that live a cultural lifestyle. So I wanted to basically
bro, hold on.
emphasize on that.
Bro, let us stop there. You're making a lot of misconceptions. You're making a lot of assumptions, and I'll go back to what I said initially.
No, what is first of all, what is assumption? What is assumption?
Okay, good.
What is the meaning of an assumption?
Let me speak now, please. Shegun,
No,
I'll say it again.
before you continue, I just want
No,
to
I
ask you.
continue.
What is the meaning of assumption? Like,
bro,
you mean everything I'm saying? You mean no? Hold on a second. You mean everything I'm saying? I'm assuming.
You just said right now that white people don't have a culture. How do you know white people don't have a culture? What does that even mean?
I said no. You misquoted.
You
misunderstood
right
me. Let me repeat what I said. I said that. Whoa, no. Let me repeat what I said.
Don't have a culture.
No, hold on.
Africa that have a culture. What are we saying?
No, I didn't say that. I said that in Africa, in abroad, white people don't live by their culture. We live by our culture. Whenever we're talking about culture, it's basically we look at it from Africa. That's what I said. I didn't say white people don't have the culture. No, I didn't say that. So let me just correct myself.
So I'm going to say it again. If you like, be 500 years old. If you did not birth me, you are not my father. Culture or no culture. All right? One thing that I'll say here is, a lot of us, we are just hypocrites, right? Because somebody that is saying right now that as a certain age, you have to act a certain way. You go to a white man's country and your boss is a 21-year-old girl. But you go back home and then you are saying that because somebody is 1 year old, they have to kneel down. But the same way, your workplace, why are you not saying that because you are 55 years old, your boss is 21 years old, you are not going to work there because you're an African man? Why? Why don't you go and start your own business and say, my boss has to be, why don't you, when you're applying right there, that my boss, I am 90 years old, my boss has to be 95, unless I'm not going to take any of the directions that they give. Why are we doing that? I've said it very simply. Our culture has stayed the way it is, and it is telling on the way we are as a people, because we have refused at any point to kind of move forward or refine our culture in such a way that it can work in the age that we are in right now. And all of us right here, half of us are abroad. And we can sit here and we can say a white man does not have a culture, but why don't you stay in your own culture? Don't stay in the city in Nigeria, because the city like Lagos was created as a result of a white man's culture. Go to your
Rosemary
and go and live there. Can you do that?
Let me just say something.
No. Shegun, let me finish now. Shegun, you talk. Make I finish, bro. Okay. Make I finish. Because as you guys were talking, I was just here listening, right?
Yeah, bro. Because, yes, you speak. If you want to go back, it's like you are diverting everything, right? But if you want to go back to that, meaning I can possibly give it to you from back to back. Anything you ask me, I can possibly give you an answer.
I'm speaking on what you spoke on. I'm speaking on what you guys spoke on. I was the one that started talking about the topic. You guys deviated. Now let us talk about your deviation,
we are learning,
right?
But it's like if you are talking, you are the one contradicting you. No, you are the one contradicting yourself.
Okay,
you are the one
let us calm down one after the
Do you want me to talk, or do you want to keep talking?
Okay,
you just talk right now.
No, talk. I'm listening. I'm listening.
So if I'm talking, allow me to talk, bro. All right. So what I'm saying in essence is this. We always want to choose the part of our culture that is nice and stuff. And I've told you, the only thing I said is, and why everybody is picking on the culture is this, the culture is that is. The truth is, all of us want to oppress women. That is just the truth. You don't want them to talk. Shegun, I'm not very happy with certain things that you said tonight, because one of the things that you said was the women are looking for papers, they want to travel, and then they get here. I can't believe that you said that.
But that happens. It happens in England too, and there are lots of situations. No. I didn't say every case, but in a lot of cases, for a woman who is suffering in Nigeria, a man from abroad is a means of escape. That's a fact.
Sheldon, you
And a
did
lot
not
of
make
people
that
are living that
comparison.
reality.
Sheldon,
No,
you did
but
not make the comparison.
it's assumed that, you
You
know, you
did
understand
not.
what I'm saying.
You did not.
Do you
No,
understand?
we don't. A lot of people don't. And
No,
see,
but no.
this is why when I'm talking about women, I am very clear with the language that I use, and I'm very, very, very deliberate, because we have a way, a very nice and calculated way of always making women seem like they're the problem in every situation.
No,
It is not
no,
fair.
no, no,
And it
no.
is not
We're not
true.
saying that. But let's not behave as though they're not a problem in a lot of situations. It's not a battle of. It's not.
Oh,
Hold
they
on.
are all
It's not a
problems.
battle. It's not a battle of the sexes. But I know for a fact that when it comes to this whole thing of traveling and all of that, a lot of times these men are just a means of escape, and they don't know at the
Brother,
time.
Sheldon,
It's only when
I
they
know
got to the
over
other side.
500 women that have sponsored men to come here, and the men do the same thing.
I agree. I'm not disputing. We're not. It's not a battle of the sexes.
So,
But
if you're
because
having that conversation, have it from an angle that human beings, all of us, take advantage and then get to other countries and then take advantage of the person that helped us.
no, hold
Which
on.
one is women?
The question says, do you think are African women? So we're talking about women. And so the truth of the matter is that in the context of women,
It's okay.
it is the experience of many people that they've been taken advantage of. Because this topic is about women. Of course, everybody knows that it happens all over. Let me give you a fact that you don't know. Let me give you a fact about you don't know. For instance, when it comes to relationship breakdowns and all of that, yeah, women are the first to report, and women's stories make it to the public arena. And so if we go by sheer numbers, you will assume that women suffer a whole lot more than men in relationships. But when you start sitting down with men, you now realize that men suffer a whole lot more than you realize, but their stories don't make it to the public domain because most of the suffering of men within relationships is internalized.
Most
Do
of the
you
abuse
understand that?
that women go through as a result of cultural biases and because they don't want to be seen in a certain way outside or deviating from culture also does not get into the limelight.
When you say culture,
about that, since we're talking about women now.
no, see, like I said earlier on, culture is like laws. Laws are there to protect, but laws can also harm. Do we just say laws are bad? No. Culture is there to protect. Now, there might be people who be violating culture or using culture in a way that's negative, but do we throw away culture altogether and say no, culture is the entire problem? Look at why are many people abroad? I'm abroad because I was born here and I lived here. But most people are abroad not because of culture, but because we have responsible leaders. It's not culture that's the problem. It's the criminals in power.
The irresponsible leaders.
Yes.
Someone just said something right now. Culture is a way of life. How did they become that irresponsible leader? You think that the culture and the tradition does not have a play into how they turn out to be those irresponsible leaders?
Not necessarily. And then which culture? Which culture? So for instance, the culture of the North is very different from the culture of the South. So which culture? See, okay, we have to break this thing down. There are different types of culture. There are different levels of culture. There's the generic culture that shapes how everybody should behave, attitudes and norms and practices. Then there's the individual culture that people can fashion out for themselves. So I can decide now I want to be a drug dealer and I'm going to gather a group of people and this is what we're going to be doing. That's a culture. But that is not, the core culture is not necessarily responsible for that culture. I've decided that culture on my own.
I'll let you get the woman speak.
Oh, okay. I'm just keeping quiet.
Melody, did you want to say anything or do you want to bring a woman on?
A woman is here now.
Oh, where is she? Okay.
Oh, she's right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Oh, I can't see anybody. I can only see 4 people.
So first, I would like us to know.
Has that guy left us?
According to the topic, African women have lost their cultural identity, and I would assume that most of us here are Nigerian.
Yeah, I can.
I just want to assume that.
Okay,
so
let me refresh.
To tackle this topic according to our own culture.
Okay, what do I need to do?
And what we understand as
is she talking?
Culture.
Yeah, she is. Maybe can you take everyone and bring him back on?
Okay.
Regarding the woman, a woman in Nigeria. So, for example, I would use what most people talk about is the marital cultural aspect for women. I'm going to talk according to my own culture, which is the Yoruba culture. I'm a Yoruba girl.
Yes, ma'am.
Most things that happen in Yoruba marriages are the women are mostly oppressed. They are not understood. They are meant to be quiet in whatever activity that we're supposed to do. We're just supposed to be quiet and let the man talk. But what is happening now in this 21st century is that women tend to now start learning more. They are educating themselves. And I'm talking about the younger women now. They are educating themselves. They are getting to understand that they can't take what most of their mothers and grandmothers have gone through.
Simple.
Which is like an oppression. They are being oppressed. And when you grow up in a Nigerian typical home, you'll see that the father mostly oppressed the mother directly or indirectly. They could mentally oppress the woman. They could physically oppress the woman. So now, when you're thinking that women are diverting out of their culture, I'm just taking one part of the culture, which is the marriage, which like there's a lot of things in that marriage. How the woman serves the man food, how the woman is supposed to satisfy the husband in bed, how the woman is supposed to talk in public, how the woman is supposed to address her husband in public, how the woman is supposed to talk to the in-laws, how the woman is supposed to respect the in-laws. I mean, it goes as far as when a woman meets a child as young as whatever. If you come into if the man gets married to you today and they give birth to a child a day before you got married to the man, you're supposed to call the person uncle. So there's a lot of things that pinching and oppressing ladies in culture. And I also tried because I was listening to Chimamanda. She was talking about Igbo culture too when it concerns women, and you'll see that there is no place whatsoever for a woman to talk or to speak. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I'm using this as a typical example because she said when her father passed away and they went for a burial, and there was no space whatsoever for a woman to stand for respect, to be paid respect to. Like our brothers had where to stand, but she had nowhere to stand. There was no position for her to stay so that someone can pay respect. She's also mourning. She's mourning her father, but there is nobody to come and say. It's just like the women in the culture are invisible. So when you're saying women are losing the culture, we need to see the part that says, are women allowed to talk? Because they're human beings too. I'm just going to use a typical example of Black Lives Matters, the stand. They are fighting for their voice so that they can say something, they can be seen, they can be respected. But we women here in Africa, in the African part of this world, were never respected, were never understood. We do not want to be heard. I mean, they don't want to hear us, I'm sorry, they don't want to hear what we have to say. So when women are standing on their feet and talking and saying, this is exactly what I want you to see. I want you to notice that I am here, respecting you, or they are forgetting. They are just here, heard and respected. That's what I'm just trying to say. And that's part of even just a little bit of part of the culture. Just a little. Now, when we now divert into the female child, when they give birth to a child in an African home, it looks like a sadness, like they didn't even give birth to any child. There are some parts of Nigerian culture that still till date feel very sad when they give birth to a child. They feel like they've not achieved anything yet. So when we try to talk about all this cultural thing concerning women, we need to also think deep and find ways of how we are going to say, why are these women actually voicing out? or finding a way? Or why do you think they are diverting out of the supposed culture? If you get what
Okay,
I
Steve, what do you have to
mean.
say?
Yeah. Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
Morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Yeah, Uncle Shagun, I know you'll be listening now. Uncle Egbagba, Omo Yoruba ni sir. And you should understand that where I was brought up, I'll give you your respect no matter who you are, as long as you are old enough to be my father. First of all, I'll respect my father, although my father is older than you are. I'll respect you the way I respect my father, as long as you've not disrespected yourself. So don't be angry, Uncle Shagun. Back to the topic. What I want to say is, you know Melody now, and I'm me and you now. You get. So I am just trying to say, we Nigerians, Ghanaians in particular, when we travel abroad, we tend to copy everything. Growing up in Africa, our parents asked us to copy people. Not that they didn't ask us to copy people. Copy the good side of these people. When you ask to copy the Western culture, they are becoming good engineers. Become an engineer is a good thing. They are doing things that are positive that you can copy. Building companies, inventing things, you know. What I'm against as a Nigerian is copying everything. Everything. Nigerian, let me speak about we Nigerians. We copy everything. We copy Americans. Anything they do, we want to do. Which I find very, very wrong. You get. As a Nigerian, you should know. As Omo Yoruba, you should know, unless you are not trained there, that you respect your elders. That is how I was taught. That is how my dad was taught. That is why we Nigerians were taught. I'm speaking for myself. You might have another opinion. That is your biz. Sure you get. Now back to the topic of African women losing cultural value. It's true, but men contributed to it. So I will not say men did not contribute. Women contributed. Our parents, our dad contributed to this shit that is happening right now. Because I call it shit. Sure you get. We now see prostituting as normal thing in Nigeria. We now see fraudulent activities as normal thing in Nigeria. We now see killing as normal thing in Nigeria. We now see bearing arms as normal thing in Nigeria. So I will not say the women contributed alone, but the men played a part. Sure you get. So this topic is not about how will I put it? This topic is not about subduing women. We are not subduing women here. Nobody is trying to subdue a woman. If you're a woman here, you get married to a man of yours that has this thing upstairs, he will definitely respect you. There are men those days that don't beat their wife. There are men those days that respect their wives, their kids to the core. So when you say respect, don't think every African man disrespects all their women. Not all African men disrespect their women. Not all African men beat their women. And women also, not every woman disrespects their man. Not every woman disrespects their woman. Their husband. So you get. So the topic basically is losing value. Mostly, we're not even speaking about our parents in Nigeria or our sisters in Nigeria. I'm talking of those women that have traveled abroad. UK, Russia is a little bit better. So you get. But UK, US, if a Nigerian woman believes once she begins to earn money, she disrespects everybody. Go and check. Those women that begins to disrespect their husband, check, they disrespect their parents also. Not only their husband, they disrespect anybody that comes along their way. The Nigerian women, when they speak, Nigerian women should speak and people should applaud. But now when Nigerian women speak, Nigerian women, they come social media, talk anyhow, open their body for ground.
Yes.
How many Indian women do these things? How many Chinese women do these things?
Right.
Even
Please,
our
can I
boys
speak
too.
to?
You will see a guy, you know, sniffing cocaine, you know, tapping his head consistently. It's normal. Why? Because somebody in America is doing the same thing.
Yes.
And when you talk as a Nigerian, they will tell you, keep quiet. Now in life, make him live in life the way he like. Although now in life, but if you use in life, it damage another person's life.
Please, can I say something else, sir?
Yeah, if you want to say something, you can, of course.
All right, I was just waiting for you to land. So, like I said, a lot of assumptions have been made on this conversation, and I'm getting ready to get to step down, but I'm just going to leave with this. The only reason why all of us are running to American countries, UK countries, is because they have a culture that allows them to evolve and change. That's the only difference. But we have held on to our own so tight to the point where we don't want to evolve from it. That's one thing. Respect is not by age. Respect is something that is earned. All right? And when we talk about women not being oppressed by our culture, I'll ask you questions. And see, a lot of times what I find it very difficult having such conversations with people, and I don't mean to condescend anybody, but it is just the truth, and I have to say, take it however you want. For you to be able to analyze and understand certain things, you have to have certain kind of intellectual prowess. You have to have read some kind of things for you to have a conversation about certain kind of things. Our culture, by its definition, the stipulations of our culture for women is for women just to be seen and never be heard, and in some cases not to even be seen at all. And all of us can stand here. All of us right now during the Black Lives Matter thing as men, all of us that are men here, you are posting Black Lives Matter, End SARS and stuff like that. Black Lives Matter is about oppression of Black people in America. All of you posted about it, right? What does it mean? It means that Black men, not women right now, mostly. Black men are the ones that are getting shot on the street mostly. Black men want to be seen and be heard. And they want to be respected for what it is that they had. Not just being a human being, they want to be respected like that. All of you can post that. But you guys can come on a show like this and be talking about women just being seen and not heard. It is hypocrisy.
No, bro.
That is not even the topic, Mr. Man. That is not even the topic.
Bro.
Let me finish.
That is not even the topic.
Brother, you guys will talk. You will have a field day. Let me finish. All right? Let me finish. While you were talking, I didn't say anything. Even though you were trying to throw jabs, I was right here. You could not face me and tell me I
was not throwing jabs. As an African man that I am, I don't disrespect my elders. So let's be clear. Let's be clear, Mr. Savage. I'm talking to you now. Now I'm talking to you. Don't disrespect your elders. Don't come on live video just because you live with the white people in the United States and start misbehaving. So if you disrespect your people at home, we don't disrespect elders as Nigerians. There are so many people here that are listening. Let me tell you.
Is that what you meant to say?
Yes, and I'm saying it now because you are disrespectful.
That's what I'm saying.
You are disrespectful.
I understand you, but you should have said it
very
to me. I was right.
Disrespectful.
I've heard you. No problem. I'm disrespectful. Whatever the case is.
What are you saying? What are you saying? For God's sake.
Do you want
to
bro?
Steven, just calm down. Let him talk. Yeah, bro, you can go ahead.
This is what I'm saying, right? You wanted to face me. You wanted to talk to me. It is
yes, because I'm angry at you. In the morning, I was applauding you. Now I'm angry at you, Mr. Man.
Good. It is your culture, your oppressive culture that cannot make you face a man that is right in front of you for you to be beating around the bush. Me, I'm facing
I don't want to disrespect your person. I don't want to disrespect your person.
No, you are not disrespecting my person. What you are saying is
I don't want to disrespect your person.
You cannot disrespect.
But you don't come on live video. As an Yoruba, I swear to God Almighty.
Whatever the case, whatever it is.
You come on live video and you are disrespecting somebody, and we are trying to correct you, and you are trying to say, why are we not copying everything about the Western world? We cannot copy everything about the Western world. At the same time, we cannot throw away our culture.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm not done. Don't live video, please.
Steven, calm down, bro. Calm down. Let him speak. Let him speak.
All right, good. So what I was saying is, as for your culture right now, right? All I need to know right now, your integrity. You can see a person right in front of you, but you cannot have a conversation with them directly. You have to beat around the bush.
It's okay.
That is a cultural thing. I can raise my voice at you, but I will not do that because I'm not gratified.
Steven, you are better than this. Come on, bro.
Speak one after the other, please.
I cannot
you are better than this, bro.
All right, Kojo, I hear you. I drop my case.
I cannot gratify your bad behavior with a response.
If people cannot tell you, let me tell you, people cannot tell you, I'll come on here, I'll tell you. You know why? There are young Nigerians here. If
Are you
if
done?
if Mr. Shegu is opportunity to be somebody that's close to me and I see you physically, you go here safe. You go know say na Nigeria all of us from call.
Are you done?
You don't disrespect people. You know why? When you come on live video here, I'm not trying to subdue women. Forget the women matter. Let's. This is the culture they are talking about. Being disrespectful to everybody. You see a Nigerian girl who is 18 years.
Is he going to let other people speak, or he's going to keep
You
speaking? As long as he
you see
wants
a
to speak, I'm
Nigerian
going
girl
to
who is
wait and
somebody
Stephen,
listen to
18
him.
Stephen,
years.
Stephen, you're on the
I beg.
platform and you are going to have the chance to talk. So I want him to talk. He's trying to make some statement. He's making some sense. I just want to hear from him. Just let
If
him
you want
talk.
to let him talk, you jare kilo fẹ́ sọ
Okay,
she will
okay,
or rather
okay.
than
Please let's.
or rather ló fẹ́ sọ. What are you saying that is sweet?
Okay, no, Stephen. Please let's talk in
You
Ló fẹ́ do.
accordance. Okay.
Sorry, Melody, you know what the funny thing is, right? Everybody that is here listening to me, listen to you, they know that I don't take half of this, but I cannot gratify. You are not,
There is nothing you can do, Mr. Man. There's nothing you can do.
Okay,
you cannot
Steve,
fight a
please.
There's
battle of
nothing you can
wits
do.
with someone who is unharmed. So I
Stephen,
cannot get
calm
into
down.
this argument with you.
Hey, Melody, see,
I'm
don't
going
be,
to
see,
try and
if
speak
you're my
on the
friend,
topic.
if you're my friend on this live video, if I've spoken in a way you don't like, sorry, man. Gojo, you get. Melody, don't be angry. I came on here. I was very, very angry. So if you're my guy, you're not
It's
talking
okay,
of no
bro.
savage. Savage, go to hell if you like.
Hey,
Mr.
Steve.
Melody, everybody, I'm sorry if I'm spoken badly, but as a Nigerian, you don't disrespect a man old enough to be your father. So fuck you.
No. Okay, Steve. No, we don't do this here. I have to. Oh my God. Oh my God.
No, you're fine. No. See. You know, he's the one trying to teach me the culture, but he's the one that has shown everybody who he is and what his culture is. See, let me tell you something. I don't need to tell you to respect me. The way I behave is going to determine if you respect me or not. I don't need to call you brother, uncle, or father for you to decide for you to know if I respect you or not. It has nothing to do with that. Right now, he's talking about me being a disrespectful person, but with 100 and something people here, he has been able to show us the kind of person that he is and the kind of cultural backing that he has. So everything that he has done right now has reflected more of himself rather than more of me. He knows nothing about me. So what I'm trying to say in essence is this: by leaving that chapter right now is a person being older than me does not mean that I have to respect them. All right. And my understanding of life is my culture has to be transcendent. I have to be able to drop ideas that are not working and pick up new ones that work. All right. So whether I like it or not, no matter what anybody is saying, I made an illustration and I asked people, you are saying you are a certain years old, you are 50 years old or you are 60 years old, right? In Nigeria, you want a 30-year-old boy to kneel down at your feet or whatever. But the same you go to work and your boss, especially in the Western world, you go to work and your boss is a 25-year-old boy. And he's telling you, do this, do that. And you're like, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. So, and you now go back home. Then you want to reset and you're telling someone to kneel down in front of you. I am saying that the idea of this culture is kind of hypocritical in a sense. And I'm also saying that we women generally in the world right now, are we assuming that women are losing their culture just because women are getting enlightened and they're finding their voice? That's the thing. Is it that we just don't want women to
Yes,
have any
Roman,
opportunity to be able to say things? Bro,
with
let
all
me
due
land,
respect,
please.
yeah, bro, I beg,
Yes, sir.
with all due respect, okay?
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
me, I'm very, very intellectual person, understand? But when I like to listen more than I talk. That's why whenever you are talking, because if I want to contradict you, I pick the same words you speak and then I use it to attack you. Now, what you
But
said
this
about, I
conversation
mean,
should not be about attacks. It should be
no.
about two
I mean,
people,
not
everybody
in that,
having a conversation
no,
and stuff like that.
not in that aspect. I'm talking about what I mean. Basically, what you said. I mean, if I say something, I mean, you try to, I mean, ask me to refrain from whatever I said or whatever. Okay, fine. Before I come to your, I come on what you're saying. The girl that first came before, she said something that, right now, young ladies and young girls are being oppressed by their culture and the way their parents brought them up.
Yeah.
Listen, this is totally wrong for her to say. This is totally wrong. There is
For her
no
to
way an
say,
African, hold on, there is no way an African child
whether man or woman can ever run away from his or her culture. Never. It will never happen. Let me tell you something. Listen, she said something like, right now, young girls are reading. They are reading. So because of that, they come out to feel that as they are reading, they are knowing that they are being oppressed. How can you be oppressed by your own father, by your own mother? No, never. The truth of the matter is that when a woman, you are saying something like, women don't have mouths to talk. Listen, let me tell you something. The world is evolving. This world is evolving. As day goes by, we are in the world of we are in 21st century. Let me say Aquarius or something like information world. So things are evolving. So the more things are evolving, the more things are changing. So now the way women used to, a man used to talk to a woman before, it's not like that. It's not like before. Now, honestly speaking, personally, by learning, if I have to stand in front of my woman, my girlfriend, and even speak to her in a bad way, come on, I feel bad. Inside me, I feel bad. You understand? So not every man in Africa now that even speak to a woman anyhow, or even think that woman does not have say. I'm telling you right now, in many communities, women have say. Women have say. So don't think that by their culture or the way their mothers brought them up before. Listen, all of anybody.
You are the one. See, you know what you have been doing. You are the one coming up with theories, and you are the one dissecting them.
No,
I've
hold on.
not made any
Don't let me
assumption.
talk.
I've not. You know what? I've really not even said anything that has been all I've been saying since is, can we differentiate oppression from culture? And everybody's fighting me. I have not even said my opinion about it.
We cannot differentiate because the girl said that. The girl said that when she started. Okay, fine.
The girl.
Okay, fine. I'm saying that's what I want to correct. The girl said that Roman. The girl said that as they began learning, they found out that they have been all this while they've been oppressed by the culture and the way their parents brought them up.
Are they lying?
That's a total lie.
Okay, can I ask you actual questions? Actual real life questions, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
How many of you were in your family when you were born?
How many of me? You mean my dad's kids?
Yes, so what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to ask for the role of the woman if you have a sister in the family. And I'm asking my sister who is here too. I apologize.
Yeah, I have a kid sister who lives in the US. She's called Beverly. She lives in Minnesota. She's my kid sister. We are just two.
Roles? Yeah, what were her roles when she was at the house?
She was my kid sister. So
yeah, I hear that. I'm saying, what are her roles? What did she do? Like, what were the kind of house chores that she was supposed to do and things
we
like that?
didn't grow up together because she was born in the US.
Okay, all right, no problem. I was going to ask practical questions because, it's as if there are a lot of assumptions, but we have facts in front of us, but a lot of us want to abandon all the facts, even though some of us are living in it right now. Some of us saw how our
nobody's abandoning the fact. Listen,
how the guy.
Listen,
Bro,
did you understand? Did you understand? Did you look at the topic once again? Don't deviate. Do you think our African women have lost their cultural identity? Are you an American?
I asked a simple question.
I asked you a simple question. No, are you an American?
I have not spoken to the topic.
Women.
The only thing that I've said and has made everybody attack me is I said, is it because women are now speaking up and they have a voice? Can we separate cultural misappropriation? Can we separate oppression from culture? Then we can have this conversation. But now,
no, it is not. For me, it is not because of that. It's not because of that.
I have not said it's because of that. I'm saying, can we separate it first?
You separate it. That's from your own perspective.
We can.
You make the separation yourself,
please,
bro.
Can the lady talk, please?
I don't think we can. See, the reason why I came up on this time is to agree with what Roman said earlier. He said if you can actually separate the gender prejudice from culture, then you have a base to discuss this matter. But we can't. The African culture generally suppresses the rights of the female gender, period. You can't say anything. You can't say anything otherwise. You cannot. You can't say anything to oppose that. You cannot. Ask your sisters that grew up in Africa. Ask your friends. The African culture generally, on a scale of like general, say everything, marriage, generally, it oppresses the female gender. Period.
Okay,
So
then
you cannot just
then
separate
why don't you tell your parents? Why don't you tell your parent that?
I said that, and then what? Will you adopt me?
Why don't you tell your parent that? Do you
Will
know
you
better than your
adopt me
parent?
when they disown me? Will you adopt
No,
me?
you came and met this culture. Why don't you tell your parent that?
Oh, so I'm so sorry. Let me understand you. So all the nonsense I learned growing up, I'm supposed to retain them as an adult. I don't understand.
What nonsense? What nonsense are you talking about? Did your parents bring you up wrongly? Did they
What
oppress
wrong
you?
and right to what
Bro,
standard?
sorry,
Yes,
please.
I was
Bro,
oppressed.
please,
Yes.
can we just have respect for ourselves and stop saying one person is talking nonsense? Let
Oh,
our view our points now. Come on, man. Sis,
see,
I'm ready to go, man.
I'm a
I'm ready to
Nigerian
go. Thank you very
female.
much. Thank you very much for giving me the
All right,
opportunity,
thank you,
Cynthia. I
Roman, for
appreciate it.
coming to our
Yeah.
platform, Roman.
Mr. Kojo,
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm an African female that grew up in Africa. I was raised in Africa. So so you're looking for a first-hand experience of African culture and the female gender. Now me. It's me.
Hello, guys.
And
Hello.
so many factors in the African culture generally puts the female gender down. Whether you're Ghanaian, Nigerian, Congolese,
No. Listen, even if
fam.
you are Nigerian, it's not every Nigerian culture that pass through what you think you pass through. There are Yoruba,
I'm
there are
not
Benin,
talking. Fam.
there are.
Relax your blood.
Listen
Calm
to
down.
me. No,
Calm down. Calm down.
don't
I've
even
listened to
say
you
Ghana.
since.
Ghana. No,
I've listened to you since.
don't
Calm
include Ghana.
down. Kojo,
Don't
calm
include
down.
Ghana.
Please. We should
Don't
call you
include
Uncle
Ghana.
Kojo. Please calm down. Calm down. Calm down.
My sister, talk for
I'm
yourself
talking to
because
you
not
from
everybody
the
was oppressed.
Okay. We have a new caller in the building. Hello, what's your name and where you calling from?
Yes. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Ifoma.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram name is just Sean. I think some people here know.
Can you please speak into your microphone? Your
I
voice
can't
is
hear
quite
you.
low.
Okay. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. I was really hoping to have this conversation with the guy who just left because he was actually the one that was drawing, he got my attention because he was going in the right direction.
Okay.
He has been the only one I've seen while watching this live video that has made like a solid ground to actually, have a headway to move somewhere in this conversation because I felt like everyone was just bringing their opinions and it was really not going anywhere. So I really hoped I would have that conversation with him, but unfortunately he left.
Oh,
So
you wanted to talk to Roman?
no, I
Yes,
didn't
yes.
want to talk with him. I wanted to have a conversation while he was still here because he had the same. I don't know if you get me. He was going in the right
Yeah,
direction, but I
Melody,
feel like
Yeah.
everyone
Melody.
is just sharing their
Yes.
views and it's
Okay.
having really
So that
loggerheads.
you can bring him back. All right.
I should take you out?
Yes.
No,
So that you
it's
can bring
okay.
him back.
It's okay.
Okay, yeah.
I'm just gonna say a few things, and I think I'm going to leave. So basically, as the guy before said, it is truly only when we're able to separate this cultural misappropriation from prejudice. I think that is when we can actually have this conversation because it's everyone is just loggerhead. And I think another thing that is how would I say? Another thing is the older people, the elder people, they have their own view. You get me? They have their own view, and like it's it's controversial with the young people who are talking. So like even when we're talking from like we're trying to talk from like okay, try to be realistic with what is happening now. They keep bringing up things like okay, when it was then and when it was then, we're actually evolving, so we should talk like moving forward. That should
All
be
right,
what
so
we should
Roman
be
is back. You
moving
can have
forward.
your conversation with him.
Hi.
Hello, Roman. Good evening.
Hi.
Okay,
I
so
had
I
to
think
leave because there was a lot of I couldn't exist in that vacuum anymore.
Exactly. I can totally understand that. I honestly didn't want to be in that either. That was why I waited, because there's actually no point, There's really no point, going back and forth.
Yeah, there's
I
none.
don't
There's none.
see like the conversation heading in a positive way. At least we should be able to live this life having learned something, or at least reaching, even if not a particular conclusion, but somewhere positive. So it's really not worth it. I think that we can perhaps continue, and I would say what I think I can share, the little I know, and I'm gonna leave.
All right, go on.
So, you see, with this idea of culture, one of the things that I would have loved to say that might, shed some light to this is that we have to understand that our cultures and our traditions are our culture is our way of life. Our tradition is our expression of that culture. So our culture is, this is how we do things. Our tradition is, this is how we practice. Where did she go?
She left.
Oh, she left.
Oh, shit.
Oh, well,
Oh,
wait
wow.
1 second. Let me add her back.
Please try and bring her back.
Okay.
So our tradition is how we express these things. Our culture is respect your elder. Tradition might be kneeling down for those elders, right? You have to understand that a lot of the times, these traditions and cultures were started as a result of the times that our ancestors found themselves in. It was not necessarily the best, but that was what they had, and that was what they could go on. That was the information that they had. The little information they had at that time was what they benchmarked and made the cultures and traditions around. Now we are now trying to navigate the new world with this kind of old ideas. And that is where the problem comes in. If we talk about the culture of our traditions and stuff like that, and we are also in some parts of the world oppressed and made to feel a certain kind of way and less of a human being, but we within ourselves want to continue that, but do it to a particular gender, I think it's quite hypocritical when we cannot agree, when we cannot accept that it is okay to treat another human being as a full human being, where the person can talk, where the person can have a normal conversation, where the person can voice their own views, but all of us can post conversations about Black Lives Matter. It is exactly the same thing. It is just that this is white on black. But we are doing black on black on a daily basis. And you have people who would come here and try and defend that, and we feel like they are making sense. It doesn't make any sense. And what I'm saying in essence is, can we just accept, first of all, and this is the thing, I make this illustration a lot. If you don't accept, or if you don't identify where it is that you are, you cannot get to where you want to go. It's just like if you have a GPS and you're trying to use it on your phone, you have to enter the address where you are in. But a lot of us don't want to accept where we are, and we are trying to navigate to get to somewhere we are going. It becomes almost impossible. So can we just accept, even by and this is the problem that I have having conversations with people that have not read anything in their lives. I'm sorry, but I have to say it. And that is why I find myself in a peculiar situation when I'm trying to make sense to people that have not read anything apart from maybe a scripture or their textbooks in school. Our culture, even if you study it, Native African culture in so many ways, everybody knows that women have absolutely no place in the African culture. And that is one of the reasons why the few women who were able to achieve this, like Queen Amina, Moremi, and Queen Zina, that was why these few women are at the pinnacle of African bravery. And we put them out there. They are only a few because they were able to break that normalcy or that rhetoric of men always have to take the front. And that is why we only have a few of them who, when they took the front, maybe as queens or maybe as warriors and stuff like that, we have statues for them and we talk about them every time. And that is to show you that in that culture, they are not naturally allowed to do those things. That is why when they do those things, it is seen as a big deal. It is just the same way a black man in America achieving some things is seen as a big deal and everybody wants to sing their praises. Because naturally, that is not the status quo. So can we separate oppression or in our culture from the culture itself, then have a conversation about this. Can we agree that a woman necessarily kneeling down on both of her knees to give food is not necessarily a sign of culture, but it is a way that a man has accepted to put a woman on that and make her feel oppressed and stuff like that? How many women right now, how many of our sisters and our mothers are happy with the way that they are being treated in public and even in their homes right now? How many girls are sisters to certain brothers who are happy with how they're being treated? If we can take it from a practical perspective, and not the perspective from what somebody somewhere has said because they are 500 years old. And let me tell you something. One of the things that I was able to abandon, first of all, about our culture is respecting somebody because they're a certain age. Old people grow old. Stupid people grow old too. So because you're a certain age does not make me respect you for whatever fucking reason. I don't care who you are. It is what is in your head that's going to determine if I'll give you my respect or not.
Honorable
That's
Minister, Honorable Minister, it's okay.
So that's how I look at it. So all this idea of a person is 500 years old and then just because of that they have sense. No. Because let me tell you one thing, right? Sorry, Toyosi, please hold on.
I was
Let me
actually
tell you
going
one
to
thing.
support your point. You know what? But
There
go
are some
ahead.
people, have you noticed that all those men on our streets that are playing draft, that don't have any shit to do, are the ones that have all the wisdom in their head and they want to be advising children around? If you really have wisdom in your head, why are you at that point in your life? Why didn't you use all of that wisdom to accept? Why is that you're always talking about your friends, your uncles, somebody that you know that is very wealthy, somebody that you know that is very rich and stuff like that? What happened to you as a person using that perception and all those nonsense that you think that you know
Please
that you
don't
want to
choke.
advise people
Sorry.
in your life? Why not? So because you
Honorable
are old
Minister,
does not mean you have
Minister.
any sense. It just means you have gray hair. Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead, bro.
So okay. I think at this point, I think he asked the question: can we differentiate, or can we like put like a bond mark or something from the cultural? I can't remember the word, but yeah, that's and oppression. Can we differentiate it? And honestly, I liked what the girl that was here before said. I didn't catch her name. She gave a blunt no that we actually can't differentiate it. I don't know how people feel about that. I feel like personally, everyone has their own views and can like I try to differentiate them personally. But if we want to do this on like a general background, if we want to do it, and I feel like take everyone in the nation along with us, we'd have to go back. We'll have to go really way back, and I really can't say if that is possible. I don't know. I don't know. I really can't say. That's the much I can say for now. So
Okay, Mr. Stars, what do you have to say?
Roman. Sometimes you need to be calming down, especially when they're when we're standing on a table that has one leg remaining. All right. So here's what I want to say. I think to an extent, the quote unquote respect your elders is what has gotten Nigeria to the state in which it is now. Where because I'm older than you, I can do no wrong. Because I'm older than you, you still have to apologize to me even if I'm wrong. Because I'm older than you, you can't hold me accountable, And to Roman's point, I was just saying now that I have a 70-year-old that report to me at work, and I call him Joey. And a lot of times when people, when I started working and I was told that this 70-year-old guy would be reporting to me, I had a problem with it because he was older, and my mindset, my mentality was, will I not be calling him Boda Joey? Or will I call him Sa or whatnot? But after a while, I got used to, and if you ask him, say, yeah, how would you like for me to address you? He'll say, just call me Joe or Joey. That's what people call me, right? And it's crazy because I call him Uncle Shegun, and there's a reason for that. I call him Uncle Shegun. When Uncle Shegun was talking, he touched on a few items and he touched on some things. And it really begs the question and depends on where you are in the world and what they're doing there. So they look, is really what works for you. Now, you're talking about differentiating. I'm not sure what you're talking about in differentiating what from what. So I really can't speak to that. However, I can only speak to what um, Roman said, which is, let's cut the bullshit with this whole respect thing. If you fuck up, let them fuck you up. If you are old and you don't have sense, excuse me, to the left. Let younger people with wisdom, let younger people that know what they're doing, let them do what needs to be done. Just being old doesn't cut it anymore. Old, sitting down playing Ludo with your friends, talking about your glory days, it doesn't cut it anymore. Sitting down, gossiping about somebody else's life is not going to. There is no that elder point. Nah. Let professionals be professional. Let the people that know how to do things, regardless of their age. One thing I will say here is this. I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be proud or anything, but my company has a high expectation, hence the reason why they gave me the responsibility in which they gave me, which is tied to a high dollar amount, which means that regardless of what my age is, they know that I am going to be responsible for that business and bring that revenue. And if I don't, it means bye-bye. We don't need you anymore, right? So if we start taking that approach and that mindset towards the things of the public, so public office, public offerings, public this, public that has to do with our country, I think we'll be better off. Let's not be voting people. Let's not be appointing people based on their age. Let's appoint people. Let's vote people based on what they can contribute towards our goal, our country, and where we're trying to get to. That's my point.
All right.
Second, to buttress your point,
Can I
right?
say something quickly?
Yeah, please, absolutely.
Please.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So, firstly, like I think we've been speaking so much about some particular sectors of the culture, which is marriage and respect, and I really appreciate what everyone has contributed, and I did learn a lot. One thing I want to say on general grounds, I feel like everyone has been really digressing throughout the life. So I would like to come back to the main topic, which is
absolutely
the life, which is,
sure.
Do you think African women have lost their cultural identity? On a general ground, I would just like to give my own opinion. Everyone may not agree with it, but I think that's my opinion and I'm allowed to air it. So I think no, I don't think any African woman, wherever they are living in whichever part of the world, I don't think any of us have lost our identity. We are only evolving based on where we move to. I don't think there is any African woman who was born and bred up in Nigeria or wherever they were brought up, has lost their identity. I don't think so. Whichever way we choose to evolve, if you see an African, you're going to know it's an African. Like, they still have their identity. So that's the short thing I want to say. And thank you so much for having me on this platform. I think I'm going to take my leave now.
All right. Thank you so much, Yvonne. Thank you so much.
Well, I can't argue with that. I can't argue against it.
No, actually,
because
I
it
can
depends
too.
on it. Do what?
I said I cannot.
No, to be honest, that's perfect. It's perfectly said because it depends on where you move to, where you are in the world. You evolve over time, and I think that's actually our problem. We're not evolving.
We're not.
We're not
We're not
evolving.
evolving.
Like in Nigeria, we're not evolving. Anyways, so she said back to the talking point, which is, do you think our African women have lost their cultural identity? Me personally,
Hello.
Hello, sir.
hello. Yeah,
I agree to
me
replace your
personally,
name,
I think
Miami.
to an extent, depending on if we're just looking at African women in Africa, I think for the most part, a lot of people have retained their culture. They've retained their values. A lot of people, and when I say a lot of people in African, but if we start drilling down into Nigeria, I think a lot of people want to be westernized, and don't want to be doing all this culture bullshit anymore. So
All right.
Toyosi,
A
sorry,
new
hold on.
color.
Toyosi, you know the funny thing? I don't think there's
mhm.
anything wrong with being westernized. In a sense, let me explain what I mean by that. Why
Okay.
are we using phones? Are we the one that created phones? Why are we choosing? We are choosing the nice part of it. But the part that makes us account allow another human being be a full-fledged human being, we want to have a problem with it. What do I mean by
See,
that? It is okay for you to pick on something new, refine yourself, redefine yourself, unlearn, relearn. That is the meaning of intelligence in the new world that we are in. Your ability to be able to leave aside things that are not working and take on things that work. So I'm not necessarily using westernization in an angle, I'm using it in a very vague sense to exemplify some kind of
but
intellectual
we can't
ability.
accept everything that the Western culture
No,
brings.
no, no, no. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying
Right.
accept. I'm saying that our culture, see, naturally, we are not natural seekers. All right? Everything that has
hmm
happened in the world today is as a result of seeking.
Okay.
For instance, the
Okay.
phone you are using and the internet, like that. So, if we are going
Okay.
to live in the world that we are in right
Okay.
now, we have to adopt the things that work, the things that are okay, and live. I'm
I
not
agree.
saying,
I
yeah, so
agree to
that's just
that.
what I'm saying. We should be able to augment. We should not be so
Right.
rigid to
Right.
the point where
Evolve.
we stay backwards. And you said a lot of things by mentioning the fact that our country, as a consequence, is the way it is because we have refused to evolve. We have refused to allow Toyosi, that is 3 years old, take charge because Badamosi, that is 550 years old, would not answer to him. So I was just going to
Yeah.
say that. Sorry, the new caller, I
Okay.
apologize. Please go ahead.
Now, so I'm not a new caller. I've been on this line
Oh,
for the
okay.
past two
So
hours,
what
so
I'm
please
trying to
should go
say in
ahead.
essence is just very simple. We should be able to augment. We should be able to take on new ideas. And one of the new ideas in the world right now, see, let me give us a history. Let me take us back a bit, right? Men have always been at the forefront of deciding things about the world because back then there was a time when economics and money in the world depended on strength. So you have to go to the farm. You have to farm a certain kind of way. Women staying at home was by just division of labor. Not because women were weak and women had to be at home. Not because women had to stay at home and cook. No, it was just division of labor. Somebody had to be on the farm because he had the strength, and somebody had to be at home to watch the children. But what we are starting to find out now is, by that consequence, men have like three three decades of, for it, I'm going to say 3 centuries of a head start. And now we are starting to realize that women also, now that things don't have to do with sheer strength anymore and just intelligence, women are starting to find their voice, and women have started to do very great things. So
Someone
now
said
we
the
are.
host is exhausted.
Are you
Are you
exhausted?
tired?
No, I'm just quiet. That's why. Probably my facial reaction. It's it's making them think so.
I'm sorry, I'm exhausted too, I'm telling you, man. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say in essence is very simple, that now that women are evolving and women are doing great things, other parts of the world have accepted it.
Bros, bro, I beg,
Okay.
speak pidgin.
The other
Speak
part of the world.
pidgin,
Why? Why
I
must we?
beg.
Why must we
Please
speak
come down to
pidgin?
my level.
Why?
Please
Why
speak
That
would
is
you
pidgin.
say
part of
one?
the evolve. This is
I
where
tell
we're
you,
talking about. This is what we're talking about when we say we need to evolve.
see, we are talking about culture. We
But
are
my
talking about
culture
culture. We are
doesn't
not
allow
talking
me to
about being in the United
speak.
States. See, we are
My
talking
culture
about culture.
allows me to
Please,
speak
go talk about, see, more
fluent,
come down to our level.
fluently. Like,
Eh?
Okay, bro.
bros, no
See,
come, no come for me. May no go reason.
bro,
I say this guy
bro,
don't take. Hey, oh boy,
see, bro,
mash
wait
you.
a
Hey, when I just be
see, Baba, what
talk.
I try to talk
When
and
I just
say
be
women
talk.
don't they enter level where they say things don't they soft for them. They don't
Hey,
even
just be
understand,
talk.
say they fit do this kind of thing, they fit achieve all these kind of things. But now we don't want to make them rich. We want to try push their head down. Say make them so anything where they do, where they deviate from our culture, we go make them look like say they don't. Now that culture now we they take hold them. Say as scared. Now waiting you guys they do with this.
Okay, bro. See, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. See,
Yes, sir.
I get to question I will ask you. And number one question is about this question. Do you think African women have lost their culture? I think so. Because even my mom, they no born now where number one about our culture. Me she go on live on Instagram. Me she they shake her ass. She decrease. See, in our culture, see,
No, no,
no,
no.
bro,
I'll
Yeah,
no,
let
we
you
no,
see.
no.
finish. I'll let you
I know what
finish.
I'm
Yeah, go
saying.
ahead.
I know which I talk. Even this girl now, I start say, okay now, about woman is everybody that have their own culture. Even Arabic, even in Arab country,
Bros, you know,
you
say if
can
your
never
mama
see
decide
their
to go on
woman.
live video, they
See
shake
they want
bubble.
go work.
Nobody go
Make it
watch.
culture.
Well, go ahead.
She decrease.
Baba,
I'm just telling you. Me,
culture
See
no
this
get
one
me, I will
now.
anything
not
do
want your
with
mother
say,
shaking her bubble on
bro,
live video.
bro,
Now, if you say,
bro,
Yes, culture.
your
See,
sister
culture
is
have to do
shaking
it. See,
bubble, I will
culture
watch
have
you.
to.
But go
bro.
ahead.
Culture, internet, no be culture.
She
Internet,
decrease.
brother, hold on.
See, they don't born us
Internet,
they like. They don't born us like
internet, na
that.
technology.
Okay, I'm
Make I
listening. I'm
explain
listening.
something,
I
give
hear
you where
you.
you don't understand. You see that twerking way they talk, eh? In as much as me, I don't like make women they
Okay.
do that kind of thing.
Okay.
But if now waiting they want to do number one, they're fine. Secondly, that twerking, baba, it inside our culture. How many cultural parties, how many cultural organizations they happen for Nigeria or cultural display they happen for Nigeria where women know they shake hands? Baba, hold on. You know
See,
what
but
this
not
carry
on
and come
naked.
outside? Internet and social media now carry and come outside. How many Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, all of our culture, Baba, no
Robert,
where
hold on,
women
hold on,
they
hold on,
dance
hold
for
on, hold on.
celebration.
Let me support
Where they
that.
know they shake hands. Now
Since
yes,
the
they
days
shake.
of John the Baptist, Yoruba women have been shaking their bum.
Fire.
When one
That electric where they wear for their waist, that bead where they wear for their waist, it is so that you can see the bouncing. It is the rhythm of those beads that show you how well a woman can control her waist. It is our culture.
somebody said African women did the bossy challenge before anybody else. Continue.
Brother, it is our culture. Now, internet, because now there is internet, that is why these things are coming out. Now, get me right. I am not saying that women objectifying themselves on live shows. I don't support those things too. But if you want us to go back to that culture, Baba, if I begin
Okay.
talk culture for a year, brother, I go talk this way. You say, Baba, nakedness in our culture. Why do they wear clothes? If you go back, Baba, we want less clothes as Africans. As Nigerians, as Yoruba people, as Igbo people, we want less clothes as Africans. Less clothes. And there's still some
Honorable
tribes in
Minister.
Africa right now where we say they still know they wear clothes. Waiting with they talk, I beg. Make we
Honorable
talk sense,
Minister.
make we talk facts.
Not to say be honorable. I think it's like this guy now. Now
Baba, make
second
we
to
go read
Odile
book, I
You
beg. Make we
understand?
go read history, make we go read our
Now
culture before
Dino.
we go come to get
So
conversation. Make we
wait,
go read history. It did
hold
there,
on.
it inside book.
Hold
But
on.
we know they read
I
book.
think there's a part to this that we're not talking about. And I think here's another thing. I was having a conversation with someone one day and I said, look, if God really wanted us to have clothes, he would have made us with clothes.
Okay.
Oh, wait, what? What'd you say? Well, I'll tell you what I said. If God wanted us to have clothes, he would have made us with clothes. So we come out without clothes. Now, here's another thing.
Go ahead.
Human beings, we define morality to an extent. Outside of the commandments that God gave us, well, depending on your religion. So now we're diving into a different kind of water. I asked that question earlier to Uncle Shegun when it was on live video, and I said, you could also argue the statement that the case of not wearing clothes, like, I didn't come to this world with no clothes. So if I want to walk around naked, as a matter of fact, the Bible recorded that and Adam and Eve were naked, or they were walking around naked. It wasn't until they ate the fruit of life that they gained an understanding, a sense of I'm naked. So, which begs the question. Now, do you allow me to submit to you that there are cultures today that still walk around naked?
Oh yeah,
There are
100%.
tribes that walk around, whether or not butt naked, but the top half is naked. You know, so when you start talking about culture and so many other things, it begs where you are. It begs the question of where you are, where you live, what your orientation is, what your exposure is. You know, so when you start saying that the Westerners didn't bring nakedness to us. We were
They didn't
naked.
bring it
Matter of
though.
fact, we were covering ourselves with leaves. We were covering our
Eh,
bonbon with leaves until the Westerners started bringing, you know, helping us to understand that, look, you know, you can actually make clothes and this and keep warm. You know, clothes were initially designed to keep warm, right? Not necessarily to cover your nakedness. And there are still cultures where they are naked. So when you now talk about somebody wearing a crop top and is immoral, immorality is by your standard and your training and level of
100%.
understanding, which
Yep.
which begs who and where you grew up and who raised you. So for me, the reason why I don't have conversations about morality with anybody is because I don't know where and how you were raised. But at the same time, I won't judge you. If you decide to wear something, if you decide to walk around with just nipple coverings, that's on you. That's on you.
Yeah.
But the way and manner in which I'm raised and where I grew up, I would want to say something. But then again, it's not in my place. So when we now look at all these things, we have to be very, very careful. When you're talking about the culture and identity based on what you know it to be versus what it was, what it used to be, versus what God made us to be or how God made us. And guess what? How God made us, we have evolved beyond that point. Because how God
Attire.
made us was naked. But
Attire.
we evolved to wear clothes. We're not wearing designers. We're not wearing this. We're not wearing that. We're not covering up. And then we're not coming up with morality. What is good? And, you know, the Bible recorded that even Adam and Eve had no understanding of good versus evil. They know. It wasn't until they ate the fruit that they started knowing what it was that was good and bad. So how far back do you want to take this thing of morality and culture? Because I'm from the human race. Sorry, I'm just telling you, I'm from the human race. And the human race, hello, should I off my shirt on this live video? Because, hello, my boss has me for everybody, is it? Hello? You know, so, again, brotherly, if your mommy was shaking Bakasi on live video, me, I will know what. But if your sister was shaking Bakasi, I will come. I will be like, hey, go girl, it's your birthday. You get
I
me?
think we have to have more respect for African women. I feel like we bash them too much. A lot of us, have opinionated concepts about what it is that they should do and what it is that they should not do as a result of some kind of idiosyncrasy and ideologies that our parents have planted inside our heads. We really absolutely need to we want them to evolve, but we don't want them to evolve above men. It is a stupid concept. We want them to do well, but we don't want them to do well more than a certain standard. We want them to be okay, but no, we don't want them to. I want a woman to do all right, but I don't want her to be my boss. We have to stop this thing. And you see, we always like to put women inside a box. And anytime they deviate just a bit from that, we use culture to support our oppression of them. Because apart from the culture, tell a man to come and give you a reason why he thinks a woman should not be doing something. He has nothing. I dare any man that is going to come here and talk about women deviating from culture. If you're going to talk about anything a woman is doing wrong, it is only within the constraints of culture that you will have something to say. Remove the culture from the conversation and you will realize that it becomes very difficult for them to find anything wrong with it. But that culture gives us some kind of confidence without clarity.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, sir.
Good evening, everybody.
Yeah. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Chijioke Collins. I am calling from Moscow.
Okay, Chijoke.
Oh,
So go straight to the point.
Yeah,
Good evening,
I've been
sir.
watching and kind of caught my attention and kind of very interesting topic this evening. In regards to, I'm going to just read out the topic. Do you think African women have lost their cultural identity? First of all, I'm someone who believes in way of life of the people because even though over the years it's supposed to change and it's supposed to change for the better, all right? So, and if you go to different continents or different countries, most people who have retained their cultures and ways of life have tend to progress more. And mind you, I'm not saying that in African culture women are supposed to sit in the back seat. No. I mean, this thing of saying women should sit in the back seat and all, I think is even Europeans that brought these things to us. Because even at those times that we're trying to point back to, those years we're trying to point back to now, those are the times that, there were times where European women could not even, be part of whatever the men are doing. Do you
yep, they
understand?
couldn't
So we
vote.
should not isolate it just to be an African thing. No, it's not an African thing at all. Right? African women, I believe, they had the opportunities to express themselves and to be, to some extent, the head of the family because they take charge of most of the things happening in the family. All right. So anybody who is going to come out now and say, okay, no, African women are not just because of the way they are behaving now, culturally misplaced. I would say the person is getting it all wrong. But
Bossman,
what?
I think women in general take charge of the family, take charge of the house. They run the house. I
Yeah.
mean,
And I think that also,
regardless of
sorry,
African or not African.
sorry, with
What I'm
disparity
trying to
to
say, what I'm
African,
trying to
sorry,
say in
bro,
essence is,
let me make a point.
what I'm trying to say.
Sorry. See, in the Western world, it is not rationalized. In the African context, it is okay. It has been concretized. It is okay. So that is also the difference because we are saying there's a disparity between the Western and here. Here, we talk about it in a way that, yes, that is how women should be. But over here, there are still debates that no, it should not be like that, it should be like that. So that's just what I wanted to point out.
And the cultural identity that is being spoken about here, it could come from a different perspective also. It could come
Which is
from way of life. Like culture is like to cultivate how you have been able to live over the years and how you've been able to successfully live like that over the years. That is your culture. That is how you've cultivated yourself to live. Do you understand? So, but what I understand is, as time goes on, these cultures and traditions change for the better. And who are the people who change these things? These are the people who own this culture, right? The way we do things in Igbo land is not the same way they do things in Yoruba land. It's not the same way they do things in the north. All right, does not necessarily mean that in the world of today obtainable. All right, does not necessarily mean in the world of today it's obtainable. But what I want to actually clarify here today is one, in regards to our African women, right? I believe. What's funny? Why are you laughing?
no,
No,
no.
sorry, it's the
I think it's
comments. It's the
reading comments.
comments.
It's reading
Ah,
comments.
I'm reading
okay.
I'm reading
comments.
comments.
I'm
Give me a
sorry.
minute.
No,
I
I'm
see
not
your
laughing at
comments,
you.
right?
I'm
Ah.
reading the comments. That's what's making me
So,
laugh. No, not
so
you.
in regards to the African woman losing the cultural identity, what struck me immediately was that, okay, maybe the African women have become too westernized. And now the question is, what is being too westernized? Do you understand? What is being too westernized? Does it mean that African woman taking charge of the home or being ahead of the man is now being westernized? If that's the case, then I think that's a very wrong opinion. All right. So I want to understand what is actually being westernized, because that is where this topic is going. If you're talking about African women losing their cultural identity, it's like, okay, you're living your own identity and want to be like somebody else, irrespective. It doesn't have to necessarily be the Western country. It could be the Arabic or maybe the Asian people. So the question now I want to ask in this forum is it just living the whole African identity? Okay? We could bring something about like, when you go and you start talking about culture, there's a lot of factors that you have to look at. What aspect of it? Is it the way of life? Is it the way we dress? Is it the way we worship? Is it the way we communicate? All right. So there's a lot of factors we have to consider when talking about things like this. So I want to just come to a conclusion and say, and in regards to this topic, and my conclusion is yes. And I'm not going to just talk about this in regards to just the women. I mean, I think we as Africans, right, we have somehow deviated a lot more than we're supposed to have with our cultures and traditions. All right. So I believe that we have also some very, very good cultures and traditions that we're not supposed to just jettison. Do you understand? So at the end of the day, I believe that we should sieve it. You right? We should sieve, like, if you go, like, I'm going to talk about China, for example. All right? The Chinese people, for example, when you go to China, I haven't been there, but like with things we see, how the Chinese behave, you realize that there's this, even though they are evolving with the world of today, you still realize that there's this thing about them that they haven't thrown away completely. That is their way of life, their cultures and traditions. Do you understand? If you come like if you go to different countries in Asia, you realize that they haven't totally thrown away these cultures and traditions that they've built over the years. All they've done is they've tried to improve it and they've tried to beautify it. They tried to make it beautiful. Do you understand? But the core foundation of these cultures and traditions hasn't been jettisoned. That is one fact, one point I want to make today. And we in Africa, we should get this thing off our mind that in Africa, all we do is to oppress women. And no, there are a lot of great women that have come out from Africa even before this century. Do you understand? Before this
How many can you mention? How many can you mention right now?
Okay.
Roman,
let me say
first
something.
Of all,
let me
man,
say something.
Man. Hold on.
I'll answer this question now.
No, don't answer just yet. I want you to finish your train of thought. You're going somewhere with this. Come on, continue.
So what I'm trying to say in essence is you cannot jettison your cultures and tradition because you feel that they are inferior. Do you understand? There is nothing inferior about the African culture. The thing is, a lot of bad things came into, a lot of people started to misinterpret our cultures and traditions. The African woman has always played a vital role in the African community, in the African society. I'm not just talking about family. The African woman has always done that in the African society. So when you come now to reduce our African women to be an object of, okay, you have to do this or that. No. We have to understand that the African woman has always played a role in the society, down from the time of slavery up until the world of today.
Brother man.
So
I think at this point, I think everyone kind of already agreed that the African woman hasn't lost a culture or identity.
No, I didn't say that. I said yes to that. You didn't hear me. I said yes to an extent, but I don't want to.
Oh, yes, they have?
Yes.
Oh, tell me. Hey,
Yeah,
see,
I said
now
yes.
we're
You
getting
were
somewhere.
not. You were
So
Should
not.
I
you
ask
believe,
questions since you said
you
make I don't ask
believe that.
questions?
No,
I
listen. The
was
thing is,
asking him
you
that.
were
He
not
said yes,
listening
they
to me.
have.
You were not listening to me. Now I'm going to rephrase again. I said yes, they have to an extent,
What are
not
you
completely.
doing?
Do you understand? They have done that to an extent, and I don't want to. I don't want this thing to be just to the African woman. We in general, as Africans, we have to an extent lost our cultural heritage. Some of the
Wow.
beautiful things that we have as Africans, some of the beautiful cultures we have as Africans, we have kind of jettisoned them. We have kind of deviated from them.
Like
You
what?
understand? What?
Like what? Examples, please.
Okay. An example I will give you. For example, like we in I'm going to speak because I'm Igbo, for example. I
Yeah.
was watching clips of marriages, you know. So I realized that, you know, this person didn't drink the drink that was passed on to him to drink. So what came up now? They started saying that people get poisoned from this. Do you understand? People get poisoned from this. So that is why that symbol of, okay, this, you know, like the Westerners wear rings to get married. We don't wear these rings, right?
We
This
drink
is like,
drinks to get married.
what?
I said we drink drinks to get married.
Yeah, we use these drinks as a symbol of, you know, bringing these two people together. But in the world of today, because of some
Keep on talking,
notion
guys. I'm
that people
coming.
can
Just
get
keep on
killed
talking.
from it,
All right.
they don't do it anymore. All right? A lot of people don't actually drink from this cup anymore. Right? They are more concerned with the whole party and the whole ceremony.
So are you saying that people should not be worried about their own safety in a situation where they don't feel safe, and they are just
So
supposed to
what
follow
are
the
you saying?
culture even
Oh,
though they
no,
don't
no,
feel
no, no,
safe?
no, Roman, you can't say that because according to tradition, you must drink it. Even if they poison it, you have to drink it. Continue, my brother.
No.
Now you're being ridiculous.
You see what I'm saying? What I'm saying in essence, the point I'm trying to make from this is, I'm not saying you should go out and kill yourself or die from poison because you want to keep cultures and tradition. No. What I'm saying is our cultures and tradition has diminished to the level where you can't even get married without being scared of being killed.
Of
Now,
course, it has
I'm going to give you
diminished, and that's
That's an
what we talk about. That's
that's an
what we say
insecurity
about
problem.
evolving.
Excuse me. No. Excuse me. Now again, another example. We all are Africans. We can ask our parents about how what is trust market, for example. Trust market. Something that has existed, like, you know, it existed in the Igbo community. People go to the market. If you're not there, they buy things and they leave the money for you there. This I could say this is a way of life of people. These people, they that anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? We cannot live like that anymore. So there has been
Brother,
a
brother,
degeneration.
can I make it very simple? Since you don't want our culture to degenerate, it is perfect, it is good, brother. Why is it that even right now in the Igbo land, when a woman dies, they should wash the body of the dead husband and she should drink it? Do you think that culture should not diminish or leave?
So
Should that
right
still be
now,
something we should be doing
it
now?
what you've done is
our culture suggests that any dead body, that anybody that died, regardless of how long they've died, they must still wash it and she must drink it.
No,
that should be a culture that should stay too.
What both of you are doing is you don't listen to me carefully.
That if
and
a woman born to it, they should kill the baby.
They should kill one. Yes.
Me, I'm twin myself. So listen, that is what I'm saying.
Bro,
So if not for Mary Slessor, who is a westernized woman in her ideas, you will be dead.
Hey,
Excuse
no,
me.
Roman, don't say that because our culture we say we should keep
Excuse
him
me. What
and
I'm
kill his
saying is,
twin brother.
now what you've done is you just decide to pick some of the things that I've said and
No,
not to do. No.
I am
Listen,
not. I'm
let
not.
me say something. I don't like to shout when I'm speaking. Let me
I'm
say
not,
something,
oh.
okay?
I'm
No,
giving you
What I'm
instances, real
I don't
life
like to shout
instances.
when I'm speaking too, but
No,
okay.
I
I
don't
like to
like raising
shout
my
when I'm
voice when I'm
speaking.
speaking. I just
I
feel
like
we're
raising my
having a
voice.
conversation.
Okay.
What I'm
I'm
saying
just
is
kidding. Go
now.
Guys,
on.
guys, this live will be ending in 1 minute.
Oh my
So
God.
We're
Okay, I'm gonna use
No.
10.
Wait, are you coming back?
I would come back here.
we are coming back.
Okay.
Toyosi, come back. You must come back.
So
Your twins is coming.
speaking of,
I'm coming
okay,
back.
I
You're
said
telling me that I went to go
improving.
me that I went to go and collect my ancestors'
I'm
shit
talking
to
about
be on this side. You now say I
improving.
should come back.
I'm coming back.
What
I
I'm
want to
saying,
hear him. Bro, are you gonna come back?
yeah,
Please come
yeah,
back. Please
yeah.
come back. Let's go and come back.
All
And
right.
let's just end it. End it and then we'll come back.
All right,
What I'm
Yeah,
guys.
we'll
saying,
come back.
what I'm
Okay, he should finish what he's saying. All right. Oh, guys, the live is ending now, so I have to end it, and then I would come back again. So, those of you that want to call should come in as soon as possible, so I can see your call request. Okay.